Hi, everybody. Welcome to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. A sellout crowd of 37,611 for the annual Labor Day Classic. And you can feel the pulse of an entire province quickening with the excitement here. Great to have Glenn Suter with us on the broadcast. How did you handle the emotion of a Labor Day Classic?
It is tough. I'll tell you what, you don't have to get the guys pumped up for this one. If anything, you have to try and control their emotions, because even in the big games, you have to stay focused.
Well, I remember the early 90s, a guy like Blake Marshall used to really set the tone. The Eskimos bruising fullback, and Edmonton has another nasty fullback coming back in the lineup to do that today.
They sure do. Tony Burse is back in the lineup, and he will bring three things to the table for the Edmonton Eskimos. First of all, he's one of the best blocking fullbacks in the game. Second of all, when they get down in the goal line area, he knows what to do with the football. 13 touchdowns last year. And thirdly, he will raise the level of intensity in the Edmonton huddle.
Now in Calgary, you think pass, but Wally Buono thinks his running back could be the key today.
Tons of weapons for the Calgary Stampeders, but the key is Kelvin Anderson. Whether it's running the football or catching the short passes out of the backfield, he is the key to success for the Calgary Stampeders.
A couple of players to watch for this afternoon, and here's another. Let's join Mark Connolly.
It's an absolutely gorgeous day here, 31 degrees, a scorching day, a little bit of wind from the northwest, and it is going to be hot all day. So we look forward to a great setup for the Labor Day game. Here's how it looks right now, 31 degrees, northwest, 7, and it is going to be hot. We can count on that for the rest of the day. Let's put it back to Chris and Glenn.
Thanks, Mark. Calgary wearing black for the 5th time in franchise history, and they are unbeaten as the men in black. How about your keys for the game this afternoon?
Well, I think for the Edmonton Eskimos to win, they're going to have to look to another weapon. So far, Don Blair has been the go-to guy for Edmonton. They're hoping that Brian Wiggins, who signed on Thursday, will be the new guy. They have to disrupt the rhythm of Jeff Garcia. When Garcia gets on a roll, he's unbeatable. And for the Calgary Stampeders, number one, they're going to have to stop the run. They've been number one in the league versus the run, but last week versus Montreal, they struggled. They're going to have a good game this afternoon, and they're going to have to test the defensive halfbacks of the Edmonton Eskimos. I'm talking about Rio Wells and Dwayne Provo.
There's Wally Buono, a veteran of these Labor Day battles. It's interesting that the coaches have different approaches here. Buono says this isn't just another regular season game. Kay Stevenson on the other side, trying to keep the lid on the emotion that we've been talking about here. Interesting that as a coach in Sacramento and San Antonio, Kay Stevenson never beat the Calgary Stampeders in 5 tries. So we're just about set. Mark McLaughlin has it on the tee. And there is the legendary Gizmo Williams back to receive the kick, along with the newcomer and a former Stampeder, Brian Wiggins. Also deep, the 35th annual Labor Day Classic is underway, and Gizmo is going to let it roll through, and this will come out to the 25-yard line. A 95-yard kickoff to open proceedings for Mark McLaughlin. And there is Dave Archer back at the helm. A record of 2-2, just 5 starts and only 2 complete games.
And he'll have, up front, he's going to have Leo Groenwagen anchoring that crew. Groenwagen going into his 208th consecutive game. And the receivers and running backs, of course, we mentioned that Tony Burse is back in the lineup, and he will help Archer. Drop back quarterback needs great protection, and Burse is like another guard in the backfield.
So Archer back off the abdominal injury that has really sidetracked the season so far. Troy Mills, the first carry, left side up to the 27. Gain of a couple for the running back. And Ray Jacobs, the nose tackle, makes the stop.
Defensively for the Calgary Stampeders, they're led up front by Steve Anderson. He doesn't have a whole lot of sacks, but he does lead the team in pressures. And in the linebacking core, Alondra Johnson having an all-star season and should be a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. And in the secondary, Jackie Kellogg, already 5 interceptions on the year.
2nd and 8 for the Eskimos, and Archer has trouble with the shotgun snap. He is drilled as he released the football. Jack Kellogg came free from the defensive halfback position, and that play just never got on track for Archer.
Well, it's amazing that Wally Buono, who's been conservative so far this year defensively, comes with the blitz right off the bat. Buono's going to send the halfback blitz. Jack Kellogg, of course, David Archer has trouble with the snap, but as Kellogg coming off the corner, he is untouched. Even if Archer picks that one up, he's going to get hit in the back before he can throw the football.
You know, it's funny, both coaches say we know each other so well, there won't be any surprises, and then everybody tries to go against their tendencies. Here's Fleming just getting that away. So a wacky start for the Eskimos. Marvin Coleman at the Calgary 40, and he's swarmed there at the 43. Good job by Fleming. Got away a 48-yard punt and a 3-yard return as Jeff Garcia, who really made a name for himself on Labor Day of '95, leads the offense out.
Yeah, and that offensive line is anchored up front by Big Fred Childress, who have one-on-one battle throughout the day with Benny Goods. We'll watch that one. The backs and receivers for the Calgary Stampeders, of course, Alan Pitts at 6'4", should have a good day against Dwayne Provo, and Rio Wells, who stand at 5'4", 5'9".
Alan Pitts, 2 touchdown receptions shy of Brian Kelly's CFL mark. That's Kelvin Anderson up to the 50 and a gain of 7 yards. And again, we can't stress enough that yesterday this was the guy Wally Bono was talking about, not Pitts or Danielson.
And he's going to have to beat a pretty good front four. Leroy Blue back in the lineup for his second game. The linebacking core, of course, anchored by the veteran Willie Pless and the old guy, Don Wilson, at 37 years young, he preferred me to say. And in the secondary, boy, Kavis Reed sure adds a lot to that secondary. 5 touchdowns off interceptions in his career.
2nd and 3, and Garcia flushed right side on the run, and there's Danielson into Eskimo territory with a first down and a pickup of 11 yards.
The first thing I notice in this football game is the intensity is so high. Some mistakes are being made. The emotions are high. Guys are going to have to settle down, and the hitting already is unbelievable because Danielson at the end of this play gets smacked and hangs on to the football.
10 Stampeders of the Eskimo 49.
6th in the league in receiving, and the Stampeders with 4 receivers in the top 12, so plenty of weapons at Garcia's disposal, and there is Anderson again. So they're getting some positive run contributions early.
We talked about Calvin Anderson, how important he is to this offense. In Calgary's 3 losses this year, Calvin Anderson averaged 36 yards out of the backfield. In their 6 wins, it went up to 76. Calvin Anderson is the key to the Calgary offense.
And 7 yards on each carry so far. Only Mike Pringle has a better per carry average than Kelvin Anderson, and really they're almost identical. The biggest difference in stats is the number of carries for Pringle. 2nd and 3, and they try to dump it off, looking for Pitts, and it sailed over the outstretched arms of the big receiver, incomplete.
Well, the Edmonton Eskimos love to run what they call the match defense, where any receiver coming in will be picked up by the linebacker. That time, Willie Pless had to cover Alan Pitts coming all the way across the field, a matchup that you can bet the Calgary Stampeders will go back to. Here comes Pitts all the way across, and it's Willie Pless that's going to have to run him. Now, if Pitts goes up the field later on in this game, that's going to be a mismatch.
So Garcia works it down into field goal territory. It will be a 49-yard attempt by Mark McLaughlin, who got off to a horrible start, but is 12 of his last 13.
49-yard field goal.
So this just a yard shy of his season high. Dickinson the holder, and McLaughlin nails it with plenty to spare. Mark McLaughlin on target, and the Stampeders draw first blood in the Battle of Alberta.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
I got a feeling of the blues, oh Lord, since my baby said goodbye. Lord, I don't know what I'll do. All I do is sit and sigh. Oh Lord, that last long day she said goodbye. Well, Lord, I thought I would cry.
So what do you guys want to do now?
I don't know.
What do you feel like doing, Louise?
Oh, this is what we always do. Well, yeah.
Big money. Triple threat on the rail.
Hey, I know what we could do.
Well, I bet you do.
Come on, let's go.
Come play the horses and get your mind racing.
Stadium filling to the brim, and these Calgary fans have had a lot to cheer about in the last 5 years, although the Eskimo fans are present here too. 5 straight Calgary Labor Day wins, and they've outscored the Eskimos 190 to 81.
Dominance in the 90s for the Calgary Stampeders, no question about it. Wally Buono has done a nice job of building this organization.
McLaughlin nails another big kickoff, and Gizmo is going to put a knee down and concede a single point. 79-yard kickoff. There is a slight breeze at McLaughlin's back, but I think he's just pumped up.
That's adrenaline. That's adrenaline. Even the kickers get involved in this kind of game, and he pounded the first one through the back of the end, so Gizmo didn't touch it, so there was no point awarded there. And that time, of course, Gizmo had to go down on one knee.
Now, Dave Archer's missed a lot of action this year. He wasn't concerned about getting off to a quick start, but clearly that first series wasn't the way he would have designed it.
Well, he'll just go back in that huddle and he'll say, listen, guys, let's just settle down, focus on what we have to do, and let's execute.
4-0, Stampeders early. Archer looking right side, and now has to scramble. And Archer on the run, delivers high, and Wiggins unable to pull it in as he ran out of real estate with Eddie Davis in pursuit. Check that. Shannon Myers, the intended receiver.
Well, pretty nice job of protection up front for David Archer. He did have time to look down the field, but the secondary for the Calgary Stampeders did a pretty good job in coverage, and he had to go to a third and fourth receiver, so he's going to sprint out to his right, try to look downfield for the scrambling receiver coming back and just try and throw it out of bounds to save the loss.
That old guy can move.
It's not bad footwork for David Archer.
2nd and 10 from the 35. More pressure. Archer in trouble. Gets it away. Troy Mills breaks a tackle. And Mills gets over the 45 for an unlikely Eskimo first down. Gain of 12 when it looked like that play was collapsing.
Well, first of all, you have to give credit to David Archer. It was a Calgary team meeting at Archer's feet. He was scrambling around trying to deliver the football. Somehow he got it out of there to his safety valve, Troy Mills. Great pressure from the outside from Darryl Hall. He flushes him up into the pocket, and then somehow Archer gets it off.
Mills a double threat. 375 yards rushing, over 450 pass receiving, and now a pass nearly picked off through the hands of Dave Van Bellingham, the intended receiver, once again, Shannon Myers.
Well, surprised as I am with Wally Buono blitzing a lot on defense early in this football game, I'm also surprised that the Edmonton Eskimos haven't gone with the running game. All year, they've established a running game in the first quarter with Troy Mills, and you would think with Tony Birch in the backfield, they definitely want to run the football. So far, Archer's been throwing it.
And again, Dave Archer saying yesterday, we've looked at our tendencies and we want to go against the grain, trying to throw the other team off.
2nd and 10 to 46.
All part of the chess match that is the Labor Day Classic. 2nd and 10, and again, the heat is on, and Archer goes down at the 39-yard line. The Stampeders get to Archer, and it's Bronzell Miller with the sack. Third sack of the year.
Sorry, Chris. Bronzell Miller is going to get credit, but it was good pressure all the way around by the front four. Steve Anderson from the outside with the great glove move to the pad of Chris Morris. Gets to the outside, flushes Archer up into the middle, and then Bronzell Miller just cleans up and gets the statistics.
It's a good sign for the Stampeders because they rank last in the Canadian Football League in sacks. Fleming on again. Coleman at his 30. Marvin Coleman nailed by Philippe Girard. And that limits the return to a pair of yards after a 42-yard Sean Fleming punt.
Good special teams foul. 42 on the 50 punt, and 2 for Coleman.
Well, emotion on special teams. That's where you see it most. Guys covering the punts and punt returns, and Gerard comes up with a big tackle downfield. You know, Marvin Coleman at any given time could take off and break one.
Former Mount Allison Mountie,
10 Stampeders of the Calgary.
Philippe Gerard, and there's Garcia's numbers on the year. And he missed one game with a knee injury. This offense leads the CFL in 18 of 35 categories. Once again, Garcia looking for Alan Pitts, who last week, you did the game in Montreal, Glenn. You didn't get the ball to Pitts till 29 minutes into the game against Montreal.
Yeah, the secondary in Montreal did a nice job of jamming Pitts, but I look for him to have a big game today, as will Vince Danielson, in my opinion. Both receivers stand at 6'4". The halfbacks for the Edmonton Eskimos stand at 5'9", both Dwayne Provo and Real Well, so it's a bit of a size mismatch.
2nd and 10 at the 33.
Second down, Stampeders. Garcia under the gun. Leroy Blue got a hand on him, and Garcia delivered the football as he was falling to the turf. Incomplete, and does Leroy Blue make a big difference in this Eskimo team?
Made in Calgary since 1978.
Errol Martin into Leroy Blue's position when he was gone with the inner ear infection, and Martin is a good pass rusher, but he's not as heavy. And you can see Blue push Rocco Romano, one of the best tackles in the game, right back into Garcia and collapse the pocket. Leroy Blue brings a lot of weight behind him at 230 pounds, and that's what he adds to that defensive line.
Top Canadian in the Canadian Football League in '96, Leroy Blue, now in his 10th year. And the 10,000-yard man has dropped back for the Eskimos. Here's Giz. Over the 35 to the 37, the Eskimos have the football when we return to sold-out McMahon Stadium.
Big game. Be part of Bud's big Super Bowl event. No purchase necessary. Must be legal for knowledge.
Come on, let's go. Harder. Come on, you can do it. Come on.
It's a big game. Be part of Bud's big Super Bowl event. Must be legal for age. No purchase necessary.
More?
Yes!
Call 1-888-SPEEDY-8 for a Speedy near you.
Cool from ST. Cools you to the core.
Calgary Stampeders averaging over 30,000 fans per game so far this year, and the average gets another jolt today upwards with this capacity crowd. And let's join Mark Conley.
Sheldon Kennedy with me. He brought in the game ball today, and Sheldon, another big money day for you and your foundation. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. It's an amazing. The Stampeders have just been behind us this whole way. And it's just incredible, you know, like there's no pill that we need to develop or anything special, any miracles that need to happen. It's a matter of getting in front of some people and give them the opportunity to look at this issue in a different light.
So where do you stand money-wise? How much have you raised so far?
We're at the $3 million mark, and we've still got another month left and heading into the mountains. So this is a great boost to get kicking the butt for me to get through those.
All right, Sheldon leaves early tomorrow for Cam Moore. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, back up to you guys.
Might be some more money today because every yard Tony Martino punts the football today, $5 more will be donated by Calgary companies to the Sheldon Kennedy Foundation. Troy Mills with a carry of 3 yards, 2nd and 7 for Archer, and he has the completion across the 45. And a nice bit of running as well after the catch. And there's Brian Wiggins, the former Calgary Stampeder, with the catch and a 10-yard gain.
Nice job of the Calgary Stampeders, Elijah Johnson, disguising the blitz. What he's going to do is come up and show A-gap right in here. He's going to disguise it and then drop out. Gives David Archer a different look. He's come a couple of times so far in this game. This time he shows it and drops out of there. It's a real chess match going on so far.
And Brian Wiggins, a key acquisition for the Eskimos, looking for another go-to guy in their offense. Here's the quick hitter. There's Giz with the catch at midfield. Dave Archer told us yesterday that he liked what he saw from Giz this week in practice, although we don't usually see him line up as a wide receiver often, at least in the last few years.
No, we don't. Gizmo Williams was the best receiver in training camp, as a matter of fact, and this is the type of pattern they like to run to him. The little hitch screens, the little quick outs, because it's not the pattern running that they're looking for with Henry Williams. It's what he does after he catches the football, the yak yards, because he can break it.
Yeah, William Hampton made that tackle, or Giz could have scampered a long way down the sidelines. It was a gain of 6, 2nd and 4, and Archer goes the other way, and that pass knocked down, intended for the former University of Calgary product, Donnie Blair. Jack Kellogg was sizing up his 6th interception of the year.
No question about it. Jack Kellogg read the mail. This is great film work by Jack Kellogg. During the week, he looks at the different patterns that the Edmonton Eskimos like to run. He saw that one before David Archer even threw with the football and very nearly was going the other way with it.
Eskimos up. They're down 4-0, 6:20 remaining in the opening quarter at McMahon. Terry Vaughn this time is the deep man for the Stampeders, awaiting the punt to Sean Fleming, and the flag interrupts play.
Penalty markers down.
Ken Lazarick is in charge of today's Labor Day Classic. And a procedure call against the Eskimos.
Procedure, Edmonton, left tackle, still 3rd down.
So far, the Edmonton Eskimos have been pretty good. The penalty situation, in fact, they lead the league fewest penalties. Calgary is at the other end of the scale, but Hay Stevenson obviously doesn't want that trend to change in this game.
Big Thomas Ram got caught leaning. At 6'7", 326. Plenty of momentum going forward if he doesn't set up right. Now Fleming. High. Punt. Falling into the arms of Vaughn across the 15. And TV up to the 22-yard line, where the Stampeders will put the ball in play. And there's Tony Bursch leading the way downfield. We'll be talking about him this afternoon.
Tony Bursch will bring the level of intensity to your football team. He's on all the special teams. He makes the calls on the punt coverage, and that time he was like a human missile going down the field.
Well, it was a bone-jarring afternoon in Hamilton, and the Ticats prevail at Ivor Wynn, packed house there, and he might be in for a defensive game as well.
Yeah, well, both teams have tremendous defenses, and you know what? You talk about the Edmonton Eskimo defense. This is a team that game plans to beat Calgary at the beginning of the year.
Anderson up to the 25. Robert Brown has the tackle there.
It's number 32.
A couple of yards for Kelvin Anderson.
You
know, it may just look like a normal running play, a couple of yards, but it's important because later on in the game, Jeff Garcia can pull it out of there, go to a little play action, and then that's when you go over the top. You have to establish it early so the defense will respect it.
Second down, and Garcia has 5 receivers in the package. Out of the gun. Throwing for Vaughn and behind the receiver, who was being watched by Malcolm Frank, and Jeff not quite on target yet, as has been the case for Dave Archer.
If Jeff Garcia looks down the field, Alan Pitts is wide open and waving his arms frantically. He went to the one-on-one to the outside, but Alan Pitts was working one-on-one on Rio Wells down the field and is wide open. Vaughn had a little bit of coverage on him with Malcolm Frank hanging over there. And if you know that Pitts and George Cortez, the offensive coordinator, will say to Garcia, look for Pitts. Number 18 was wide open that time.
Tony Martino set to punt to Gizmo. Martino trained with Sheldon Kennedy in the offseason, getting ready for the CFL year and for Kennedy's cross-country run. Here's Giz. He might go cross-field here, but now is taken down. Greg Freyers, the backup safety with the stop after a 59-yard punt.
Just about got that ball out of there.
Helping you get the job done easier is what Totem Building Supplies is all about. Here at Totem, you'll find an extensive selection of products and services throughout our store. Everything from key cutting to computerized color matching, store demonstrations, quotes and estimates, a great selection of step-by-step video rentals, plus a whole lot more. And if we don't have what you need, no problem. We'll special order it for you. Let us make your job a lot easier. Start at Totem Building Supplies.
It's the service at Totem where building begins.
Jimmy, for the last time, get up. Come on, Jimmy. The alarm didn't go off and you're late. You've still got to feed the fish. And make the bed. If you get up now, you still have time for an egg McMuffin.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
Lubex drive-through oil change.
Where customer service is our #1 priority.
At Lubex, we are fast and friendly.
And convenient, with 14 locations in Edmonton.
At Lubex, we give a 20-point vehicle inspection with every oil change.
And Lubex uses only warranty-approved products.
And is home to Quaker State, Canada's leading motor oil.
Come to Lubex Fast Oil Change.
And friendly quality service.
Tony Burrs back in the Eskimo lineup, broke a forearm in the preseason. Here's what he hopes to bring to the Eskimos offense.
Come on, you guys, it's Labor Day.
Well, I think about executing and picking up, blitzes and trying to do the best I can blocking for, Dave and Troy. Like I said, all I am is a third guard that, runs and catches the ball.
Burrs 6 foot, 238 pounds. He's a package. And there's Mark Tolbert with a catch. Tolbert into the game, replacing Shannon Myers, who was shaken up on the first series of the game. An 8-yard gain for Tolbert, who took some punishment himself last week in the win over Saskatchewan.
He certainly did. He got hit a couple of times. David Archer is just going to dump this ball off to Tolbert, who curls up in front of the zone. Eddie Davis had deep coverage, so he had to be way back off. And nice read by David Archer to pick it up.
Second and a couple at the Eskimo 43. There's Tony Burrs crashing through. Burrs with a little hurdle and into Calgary territory. Glenn, Dave Archer really put Burrs in perspective for me yesterday. He says there's a silence in the room prior to the game. Some guys know how to break it. Tony Burrs smashes the silence.
No question. And Dave Bellingham, I've been in this situation. He's trying to anchor himself for a huge impact, and Burrs just hurdles him. He's alone, but he's also a great athlete.
18 yards for Burrs, an inspirational leader on the Eskimos. His first carry of the year, and they go back to the ground game across the 45 and Troy Mills down to the 43-yard line. This is kind of a November offense that the Eskimos have put together.
No question about it. When it gets cold, this is what you want to have, a good running game that you can rely on. That, or when you're ahead in games and you want to ice the football game. That's why Case Stevenson loves to have a good running game, and will stick with it throughout.
Even though Eskimo fans would like to see a little more flash and dash. Second and 6. Archer looks to the right side. That ball was brought down by Wiggins. What a nice pair of hands, but incomplete. They ruled he was out of touch.
When we talk about Burrs' running ability, he also has the great blocking ability. And with the drop-back quarterback in David Archer, he depends on his fullback to pick up any blitzes or anyone who may scrape free. That time, it was a great shot straight up front. And Ray Jacobs had no shot getting close to the quarterback.
So Fleming on again with 2:20 remaining. First quarter. Coleman drops deep. And Coleman setting up as if he'll be content to let this one sail into the end zone.
Edmonton's running man blocking. They're trying to pick up their guys. That was was the problem there. What happens is the Edmonton Eskimos and their punt coverage team are in man protection. That means everyone has to find a man. So they're talking to each other, trying to figure out who has who with the numbers.
Time count procedure. Edmonton, number 11. Still third down.
So it's walk back 5 as Kay Stevenson looks for an answer on the bench.
Good move by Sean Fleming to take the penalty. That's a veteran move because 5 yards doesn't make a big difference when you're punting the football. But if you let a guy go free and he blocks it, that is a huge play.
High snap, sailing over Fleming. And now Fleming in deep trouble, and he'll kick it through the other way. And a wise move by Fleming after the snap by Jim Cooper. And the rookie sent that airborne, a safety charged against the Eskimos in a 6-0 Stampeder lead.
The rookie and Jim Cooper has never had to deal with the pressure of a big game like this. And he is the rookie in there. And this one is just adrenaline, and it was still on the rise when it hit Sean Fleming, and he just had to scramble around and do what he could with it. Not a bad move to kick it out of the back of the end zone. Got to extend those hands and keep your head down. And, of course, Jim Cooper knows that he's going to get pounded every time he snaps the ball, especially being a rookie. You want to hit the rookie and make him think about the defensive lineman and not the snap.
Located at Shark Center.
UBC Thunderbird a year ago, Vanier champion, and Jed Roberts, the veteran. A lot of poise and experience on that Eskimo sideline to help the kids out.
No question. You got to say, hey, settle down. We got a lot of football to play. So we're going to ask for you to make some good snaps throughout this football game, so let that one go. You have to have a short memory, no question about it.
You have the dirtiest car in the parking lot.
So defense has dictated so far. And Wally Bueno has a word with some of his defenders.
Usually an emotionally charged game, that's what you'll get. You'll get the defenses on both sides of the field really taking the bull by the horn, so to speak, to start the football game, because that's where the emotion is. You can fly around on defense, whereas offense is a lot of execution and a lot of time. It takes them a little bit longer to get into the flow.
Well, for the stats people, that is considered a loss of 62 yards by the Eskimos.
That's not good for the final numbers.
Here's Terry Vaughn awaiting the kickoff after the safety. Sean Fleming sends it downfield. Coleman has it. And Marvin Coleman up to the 30-yard line.
On the kickoff for Sean Fleming.
Under 2 minutes to go, first quarter. Stampeders on top.
Now get a 28-point fall checkup, plus oil, lube, and filter, tire rotation, and a free jug of washer fluid, all for just $29.95. Only at Canadian Tire.
Shannon Myers is out of the game right now. He injured his right pinky finger. He's taped it up, and he's practiced a little bit catching. Don't know if he's going to go back in. He may have broken it. Back to you guys.
So we'll see. Mark Tovert has gone in to replace Myers for the time being. Here's Anderson, and he runs into Malvin Hunter and Benny Goods.
Benny Goods with the 40 was in there too.
A couple of the stalwarts on the Eskimos defense. Yet it's kind of surprising, Glenn, to see the Eskimos defensive numbers on the year. Number 6 against the run, number 6 in yards allowed, but they've had some injuries.
Yeah, they have had some injuries and 6 W's, which is that's what they'll tell you is the stat they care about. Benny Goods, one of the best in the game. You have to double team Benny Goods every play.
Wally Bueno asks, is Willie Plus their best defensive player, or is Benny Goods? 2nd and 9, Garcia in trouble, but they may have got a piece of the face mask as a flag flies.
Guess who was in the backfield? Benny Goods.
He's a load, but he got his hand up on the face mask of Garcia. 3-time All-Canadian, Benny Goods.
Yeah, and it was unintentional. He was on the fly, and Garcia ducked right at the right time.
Major foul, face mask, Edmonton, number 40, legal procedure, Calgary, number 63, first down Calgary.
Ron Meyer, the right tackle, called for procedure.
Benny Goods, this is like a flyby. He's in there untouched. Garcia just gets down low right at the right time, and Benny Goods has no chance but to grab that face mask.
At the 42, it is a first down, Stampeders. 6-0 lead, but not operating on all cylinders yet offensively. Garcia, oh, and he is crunched down there by the veteran. There's Donnie Wilson.
Well, Donnie Wilson's job is just to get underneath the receiver to start the play. In that case, it was Alan Pitts. Once he sees Alan Pitts clear his zone, now he can look downfield to Garcia, and then it's just a one-on-one tackle in the open field. And Don Wilson, at 37 years of age, still making plays.
4-time All-Canadian. And with that tackle, he moves into a tie for 4th all-time in the CFL, along with another former Eskimo linebacker, Larry Ruck.
And you look at the experience, two guys standing side by side, Don Wilson and Willie Pless. 28 years of experience in the CFL.
And now Garcia calls a timeout. No time left on the clock in the first quarter.
Does anyone want to go to London, England?
As he wants to confer on the second down play.
Well, he wants to get things straight because right now the Edmonton defense are doing a nice job of disguising coverage and getting underneath the receivers. It almost looks like they're double covering the slots initially and then they're falling off. Right now, Jeff Garcia wants to go and get it straight.
Pat Clayton, the athletic therapist, in there as well. He might have been nicked on that tackle by Wilson. So this will be the final play of the opening quarter. And a slow start for both teams offensively. Garcia was hooked in his last start against the Alouettes last Friday.
That's the luxury Wally Buono has. He can put Dave Dickinson in the game and really doesn't skip a beat.
Well, you don't see Garcia with 11 yards passing through 15 minutes of football often. And he's flushed out again. But Jeff Garcia does this so well, running into Edmonton territory, a 15-yard scamper to end the first quarter of football at McMahon Stadium. Home side's on top in a conservative opening 15 minutes.
Stampeders 6, the Eskimos outscore.
I hear the working woman in the suit so smart, the girl who wants it just to break his heart. Sparkling earrings, a string of pearls, just kicking back, one of the girls. 3-button coats, ribbons and bows, everyone's asking where'd you get those clothes. I like your style, call it versatile, baby you're just like me. Come see the softer side of Sears.
As Canada's auto parts store, Canadian Tire offers you even more. Like our Loan-A-Tool program. If you need an auto tool, just come to our auto parts counter, choose from a selection of specialized tools, and we'll loan you one at no charge. And it doesn't end there. Because right now you can bring in your battery, alternator, or starter to any Canadian Tire auto parts counter, and we'll give it a free electrical test to ensure everything is in working order. Canadian Tire, Canada's auto parts store.
Jason and Tyler, head to head. We're gonna light your tender up. Your forwards couldn't carry a puck in a suitcase. We're gonna kick butt. We're gonna be in your face.
Whoa, I want a mint.
We got the snipers.
Those guys couldn't shoot their mouths off.
Unlike some people.
Don't go there, Pucky.
Play Sports Select. Get in the game.
Our goalie shoots harder than your forwards.
Just keep chirping. Chirp, chirp, chirp.
You are so strange.
Field goal, safety, and single for the Stampeders in the opening quarter here at McMahon Stadium. And what else is a backup quarterback for but to help a starter with his contact lens? This was the scene a few moments ago.
Anything to help the team win. Dave Dickinson helping Jeff Garcia put his contact back in. That's teamwork at its best right there.
That was the result of that heavy hit from Donnie Wilson.
And you know they work together because, you know, the backup quarterback may just want to poke him in the eyes. He gets a chance to get out there.
First down after the 15-yard run by Garcia. just nosing into Eskimo territory. And here's Anderson running through one straight arm down to the 50-yard line. Willie plus the tackle.
Well, the first quarter stats, big loss, of course, on the punt that went over Sean Fleming's head. That's why they have -7 yards. They are establishing a bit of a running game. It's balanced, but you expect a lot more passing yardage from both teams with David Archer back in the lineup. Of course, Jeff Garcia, the starting quarterback in Calgary.
Aubrey Cummings has checked in for the Calgary Stampeders as a 5th receiver. The rookie out of Acadia. Garcia on the run again, diving close to a first down near the 42-yard line. 8 yards for Garcia, and he does this so well, and it's usually more often the case against Edmonton.
This is what he has to do against the Edmonton Eskimos. Look how they open up the middle of the field. They try and keep all the receivers to the outside or deep. When Garcia sees that, he has no choice but to run it. That's what Edmonton wants the Calgary Stampeder offense to do. They want Garcia to run the football.
Last year, 212 yards rushing for Garcia in the 4 meetings against the Eskimos. And now Anderson bursting across the 30 and down to the 25-yard line. Kelvin Anderson with the biggest run of the day for the Stampeders. 20 yards for Kelvin Anderson.
A nice hole at the point of attack. Everyone washes that defensive line down. Whole offensive line did a good job at the point of attack, and then Anderson does the rest, breaking the tackle of Trent Brown, the safety, picking up an extra 5 or 6 yards.
In 3 games last year against the Eskimos, he rushed for over 90. And he's off and running again. Here's Garcia, play action, tipped in the air, but pulled down by Terry Vaughn, and still going. Vaughn makes something out of nothing to keep the drive moving.
Super concentration by Terry Vaughn. First of all, Melvin Hunter gets up and deflects that football as it's thrown. Here comes Melvin Hunter at the top of your screen. He's going to get up and knock it down. Then it's like a rebound for Terry Vaughn. One hand that rebound and take off up the field. And guess what? Melvin Hunter with the great hustle goes over and makes initial contact.
8-yard pickup for Vaughn. First time they've thrown his way this afternoon. The ball at the 14, and now Garcia pushes forward to get the first down. Terry Vaughn's got to make the most when the ball's coming in his neighborhood, because the distribution of the football by the Stampeders is so evenly matched that you don't see it a lot.
That's right. When you get your chances and your touches on the football, you got to make the best of it. Terry Vaughn saw that one deflected and said, hey, I don't care who touches it. I'm only going to get 3 or 4 chances at this football. I got to get some yardage. They get a little competition amongst themselves, which is just great for the Calgary offense.
3 straight 1,000-yard seasons for Vaughn, and a first down for the Stampeders just outside the Eskimo 10. Big contact there as Donnie Wilson stepped up and stuck his helmet into Kelvin Anderson. Leroy Blue returning to the Eskimos defense.
Yeah, he had to take a couple of plays off there. Leroy Blue still suffering a little bit from that inner ear infection, and when he gets tired and starts to breathe hard, he'll start to get a little dizzy. Go off and rest a couple of plays and come back on. Kelvin Anderson took advantage of him out of the football game by running it effectively.
4 yards for Anderson. 2nd and 6 from the Edmonton 7. This is the 11th play of the drive. Garcia, quarterback draw, and nailed at the 5.
The veteran, Melvin Hunter, sniffed it out. That was not Melvin Hunter's assignment to fold underneath and pick up Jeff Garcia, but Hunter saw it coming. It was a design play by Garcia. He had no intention of throwing that football. Hunter sniffed it out and came back. Hunter's job initially is to go up and get containment. Came off his assignment because he sniffed it out.
That hole was open momentarily, but shut down by Hunter and Goods.
It is hot on that field. You can see the guys trying to catch their breath.
So 3rd down, McLaughlin in. Hit from 49 yards in the opening quarter. And Mark McLaughlin is 2 for 2. Stampeders widen their lead early in the 2nd quarter at McMahon.
It was harvest time when a terrible accident changed John Paul's life forever. He was playing near a grain auger and fell onto the moving blades. Both his arms were severed. John Paul and other War Amps champs who have lost arms and legs in accidents appear on parade floats and television with a kids-to-kids warning.
Don't let it happen to you. Play safe.
Please call the War Amps about the materials available through the Play Safe program.
Play safe.
I got a feeling of the blues, oh Lord, since my baby said goodbye. Lord, I don't know what I'll do. All I do is sit and sigh. Oh Lord, that last long day she said goodbye. Well, Lord, I thought I would cry.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by TELUS. Basic human communication.
Drive took 6 minutes, 38 seconds, 12 plays, and it's capped by the Mark McLaughlin field goal, 9-0. Calgary leading. Great night of TV on CBC. At 8, it's comedy with this hour and air farce, followed by the premiere of a 3-part special, The Cola Conquest, here tonight on CBC. Not a bad afternoon either, with the Hamilton Tiger Cats prevailing at Ivor Wynne, and these two old Alberta cousins, the McCoys and the Hatfields, going at it at McMahon.
What I love about it is both sellouts.
That's great. Here's Gizmo. Across the 35, Roger Wrights and Greg Frears stop him there. 22 yards, which is about the average for Henry Williams on kickoff returns.
What I talked about at the beginning is that David Archer has to find another target. He has to get on track, and right now Don Blair has been his only target throughout the season, and Jimmy Kemp's only target. Coming into the game, Blair had 36 catches. The rest of the starters combined had 11. He needs to find another target, and he has to do it in a hurry.
And he's lost one so far today with the injury to Shannon Myers. Down by 9, the give, Mills, and Troy Mills. 2 or 3 hard-fought yards, and he ran into a wall wearing 92, Steve Anderson.
Well, Steve Anderson did a pretty nice job. He had to fight off Thomas Raham and Burrs. Burrs is going to come up and try and double on Steve Anderson at the point of the attack, but Anderson, with his hands and great arm strength, fights off Thomas Raham and Tony Burrs to get in on that tackle.
Shannon Myers has returned to the offensive set. 2nd and 7. Archer pass knocked down at the line, and David looks skyward in frustration.
Well, there was confusion downfield, Chris. Troy Mills is running in the same position as Brian Wiggins. They both released, and they were both side by side down the field. When Archer looked up, he saw it. No way he could get either of them the football, and in frustration just threw it. It was knocked down. I mean, there's 2 guys downfield basically in the same area, and that ball was just knocked down at the point of attack. I believe it was Steve Anderson who got his hand on. No, it wasn't. It was Bronzell Miller.
Miller with a knockdown and a sack already this afternoon. Fleming the punt. LeBreeze at his back now, and Vaughn at his 26. Couple of nifty steps by Terry Vaughn, and he's over the 40. Late flag coming down. Trent Brown the tackle. A 47-yard punt. Vaughn brings it back 16.
On the play by the Eskimos, Trent Brown, number 28.
He really had to bob and weave his way through that.
45-yard kick.
Uncovered team of the Edmonton Eskimos. Pick up the yardage. All for naught, looks like.
Flag against Calgary. We'll tell you about it when we return to sold-out McMahon Stadium.
Does a car have instincts? Can it anticipate the next curve? One car can make you believe it does. With a patented steering and suspension system, you have the agility to outsmart the most elusive of roads. Intrigued by Oldsmobile, a sophisticated twist on a sports sedan.
Hey, just finished staining the gazebo.
Great. What'd you use, redwood or cedar?
Well,
At Home Hardware, there's no need to limit yourself.
so this stain comes in lots of colors.
How many?
Wood Shield exterior stain from Home Hardware comes in more than 1,000 colors, all backed by our no-quibble guarantee.
1,000? How did you decide?
Well,
Home Hardware.
Cool. What about the fence?
Help is close to home.
In the remote.
One turn for the worse. Split-second reaction. 180 degrees from nowhere. 4 days overdue. And 3 months recovery equals 1 score to be settled. For all you do, this bud's for you.
Always bus loads of Eskimo fans and their cheerleaders come down for the Labor Day Classic. And of course, the return match will be Friday at Commonwealth Stadium. Played only twice in the 90s has one team swept those 2 games, 1 apiece. The Eskimos in 90, the Stamps in 95.
Well, it's always tough to win back-to-back games, but especially when you have this rivalry.
Jeff Garcia said yesterday that it's the urgency to prevail on home court that has allowed them or helped them dominate the last 5 years here. And then, of course, Eskimos have that extra incentive to get back on even terms in their barn.
Yeah, no question about it. And the hitting in this football game is unbelievable right now. I mean, Kelvin Anderson, Troy Mills, Tony Bird, doesn't matter who's carrying the football. They're getting pounded, and they're earning every yard.
And it seems every tackle's being made by either Goods, Blue, Hunter, or Pless. And they have at least 7 years per man experience. Garcia on second down, and he heaves that high. Incomplete, intended for Travis Moore, and Garcia frustrated with his slow start.
Well, he's frustrated because he can't find an open receiver downfield. He's getting a little bit of time initially, and he steps up in the pocket nicely, but there is no one open downfield, and Garcia has no choice but just to try and throw it away. He really had no open receivers.
Jeff, 2 for 7, 19 yards, and we thought he might have some success against the defensive halfbacks of Edmonton, who are not those 7-year veterans we were talking about. Martino. Gizmo. No yards being called as Williams is dropped at the 43-yard line by Frères. 43-yard punt.
It's about 9. We'll see what it's about.
It was harvest time when a terrible accident changed John Paul's life forever. He was playing near a grain auger and fell onto the moving blades. Both his arms were severed. John Paul and other War Amps champs who have lost arms and legs in accidents appear on parade floats and television with a kids-to-kids warning.
Don't let it happen to you. Play safe.
Please call the War Amps about the materials available through the Play Safe program.
Play safe.
Well, the Stampeder fans happy with the 9-0 score, but they'd like to see a little more offense, at least out of their team. But right now, Eskimos take the football. And there was more than one flag on the play, and we had a call also go against Edmonton for roughing, and the football back at the 25.
Big series for David Archer. He really hasn't established anything. He needs to move this football, put a couple of first downs together.
Mills, right side, big hole, and Troy Mills into the Calgary secondary all the way to the 48-yard line. 23 yards for Troy Mills.
Wow, that was a well-executed play from start to finish. Well blocked up front by the big offensive line. Thomas Ray at number 55 comes across with a great kick-out block on Alondra Johnson. That opens up a huge hole for Troy Mills. He does the rest, breaks a couple tackles downfield.
121 yards against Toronto earlier this season. When Dave Archer used to sit there, he'd tell me week in and week out, Troy Mills should be playing in the CFL. There's Daryl Hall with the tackle as Mills rips off 11 more, but he didn't get a call last year, went into retirement. He's a personal trainer, and now back reunited with Archer Stevenson and in the Eskimo lineup.
He's in great shape. He had that year off to heal up, like you mentioned, and this time he just runs through the arm tackle of Steve Anderson. If you want to tackle Troy Mills and those strong legs, you better get your head and body in front of him.
Eskimos had something going at the 51 of Calgary. Now it's Tony Burse, but he's roughed up at the line of scrimmage. There's Anthony McClanahan, the middle linebacker.
Thanks, buddy.
Three also on top of the
unbelievable contact at the point of attack. Watch Daryl Hall come up, Anthony McClanahan come up, and even Jack Kellogg gets in on the front from the secondary position.
You know, fans that haven't been watching the CFL for a couple of years, used to the wide open shootout style, are wondering what's going on. This is throwback football to the old defensive days. Second and long for Archer. Can't find anybody. Dumps it off Mills. And Troy Mills close to a first down, but stopped short by Alondra Johnson. Call it a 9-yard gain.
Well, it'll be very, very close. I mean, again, great coverage by the Stampeders secondary. No one open. And that causes David Archer to hold on and just dump it off to the relief valve, Troy Mills. He gets tackled downfield. It's going to be close. See David Archer taking some abuse there by Bronzell Miller. He paid for that little dump pass, no question about it.
So it's third down, full yard, and Kay Stevenson has left the offensive unit on the field. Why not?
Oh, big play.
Burse, Mills in the backfield. Third and a yard. Archer fumbled the snap, and he won't make it. Mishandled the snap from center, and instead it's a loss of 4 and a turnover on downs for the Stampeders.
Do you savor those extra 10 minutes of sleep every morning? Well, sleep in, because there's someone already making breakfast for you. Did somebody say McDonald's?
When you need a sealant that's got to stick, Mono Ultra does the trick. Mono Ultra. When it calls for the best, the choice is clear. There won't be anything like it for years. Mono Ultra. It works in the sun. It works in your shower. You wash up with water and hang it in an hour. Whatever the kitchen surface, nothing sticks to the job like Mono Ultra. And it's mildew-proof in the bathroom. Mono Ultra. Get the Mono.
As Canada's auto parts store, Canadian Tire offers you even more. Like our Loan a Tool program. If you need an auto tool, just come to our auto parts counter, choose from a selection of specialized tools, and we'll loan you one at no charge. And it doesn't end there. Because right now you can bring in your battery, alternator, or starter to any Canadian Tire auto parts counter, and we'll give it a free electrical test to ensure everything is in working order. Canadian Tire, Canada's auto parts store.
Glenn Kay Stevenson's not known as a gambling man. He won't like this.
No, this was David Archer all the way. Leo Groenwagen got the ball up there, hit David Archer in the hands, and he just dropped it as he turned around to hand it off.
So the Stampeders take over on downs at their own 46. Garcia over the middle, and that one on one hop, incomplete to Aubrey Cummings.
This comes up short.
And it's been a frustrating day for the quarterbacks.
Yeah, take a look at the ball. The snap's going to come up. It's the top hand, the right hand right in here. Look at the right hand now. David Archer wants the ball to hit that hand. If it does, it's a good snap. It does. He turns around, doesn't have the handle, and it's bouncing around. And that's why this is a big gamble, even though it's only 1 yard. Because something like that can happen at any time.
Down to 4:34 remaining in the opening half. 9-0 Calgary. Second down, screen, Anderson. And he's cut down at the 45-yard line. Odie Harris with an impressive tackle.
Oh, it really was, because it was a well-executed play and a good call to run the screen play in this situation. The Edmonton Eskimos have been providing a lot of pressure, so run the screen, dump it off to Kelvin Anderson. Now he's one-on-one in the open field. That's tough, but Odie Harris comes up and cuts him down.
Harris, the new guy as far as that front seven, the vaunted Eskimo front seven. First year with the Eskimos. Everybody else has been around a long time. Martino off the side of his foot. Bouncing for the Giz at the 23. And Gizmo will lose yardage. Well contained by that Calgary Stampeders special team and Aldi Henry in the middle of it. 39-yard punt.
Jason Clement, number
and an injured Stampeder down.
Teams tackle. .38 yards in the kick, a loss of 3 to Gizmo.
Carl Duclair is shaken up. He had a knee scoped in July. Well, let's hope that hasn't been aggravated here. Pat Clayton out to attend to him.
Now get a 28-point fall checkup, plus oil, lube, and filter, tire rotation, and a free jug of washer fluid, all for just $29.95. Only at Canadian Tire.
Farrell declared number 28, the injured Calgary Stampeders.
And you can see that Duclair is in some pain as he is attended to by Pat Clayton. 3:58 remaining in the opening half.
That chart Wally Buono is looking at is a special teams chart. When you have a special teams guy go down, you have to make about 3 different moves to make sure the backup, who's likely a starter, finds his position.
Chuck McMahon there. A couple of old Montreal Alouette teammates. Part of the Stampeders coaching staff.
Picture yourself close to the action.
The job Guano has done through the 90s. This Calgary Stampeder team at home 67-9 in the decade.
Well, he's really built this team. He built it through the draft. Whenever he brings in a free agent, the guy doesn't make the team right away. He's on the practice roster for a year or two. This is something that you have to sort of grow into the Calgary Stampeders organization, and it pays off 3-4 years down the line.
Where's the offense, Glenn?
That's a good question. Right now, the defenses are dominating this football game. It's not a big surprise. Both are talented on that side of the football.
So why did I think about 56 points if he scored this afternoon? Here's Archer in some trouble. Now throwing for first. Was unable to pull it in.
Well, I think that's been one of the keys so far is that both quarterbacks, David Archer or Jeff Garcia, haven't had a lot of time to throw the football and look downfield. Right now, the dominance has been from the defensive lines on both sides. You see a good pass rush there by Jermaine Miles to the outside, and Steve Anderson again was in the backfield. Right now, both defensive lines are teeing off and getting to the backfield.
And that was supposed to be the Achilles heel of the Calgary Stampeders. Everybody's saying, yeah, but they don't have a very good front four.
Well, they're fired up because they were reading the press clippings, too.
2nd and 10. Archer, good protection. Gizmo, and Gizmo wrapped, unable to bring it in.
Anthony McClellan had Gizmo in his sights from the beginning to the end of that play. He saw it coming and had the homing device right on the number 2.
McClanahan was victimized last week in times. He had the flu a day or two in advance of the Alouette game, lost 15 pounds and baited during the course of that football game.
When you're the middle linebacker, you don't want the blue when you're playing against Mike Pringle.
Fleming to Vaughn. And Terry Vaughn can't find the seam. Mark Tober to stop. 51-yard punt by Fleming. And a 4-yard return. 9-0 Stampeders at McMahon.
When you need a sealant that's got to stick, Mono Ultra does the trick. Mono Ultra. When it calls for the best, the choice is clear. There won't be anything like it for years. Mono Ultra. It works in the sun. It works in your shower. You wash up with water and hang it in an hour. Whatever the kitchen surface, nothing sticks to the job like Mono Ultra. And it's mildew-proof in the bathroom. Mono Ultra. Get the Mono.
Cool from an ST. Cools you to the core.
Whether you're the type that prefers to put yourself in the hands of the professionals, or you're the hands-on type that likes to roll up your sleeves, you can count on Bumper to Bumper for all your car and truck needs.
Coming up at halftime from McMahon Stadium, I talked to David Archer. We'll hear that interview. Chris Walby's pro tips. And Chris and Glenn will have first half analysis. Guys?
And plenty of defensive highlights, the way things have unfolded in this first half.
Yeah, but with guys like David Archer and Jeff Garcia in the game, you never know when the explosion will happen.
Stamps lost 3 of 4 to Edmonton last year, but Wally Buono said, even in the losses, we always move the football. This is Travis Moore with the catch, and Garcia took a wrap, and Jeff is slow to get up. Remember, Dave Dickinson is the backup, and he's scrambling to warm up in the pen. Garcia was knocked woozy last week against Montreal, and it seemed to affect his second half performance. And here comes Leroy Blue.
Yeah, it was Leroy Blue. That is not a late hit. Good pass rush by Leroy Blue to take off and hit Garcia as he's throwing the football. And hey, even if he gets rid of it, you want to let him know that you're there. Leroy Blue did that more.
On the button, so Dickinson warming up. I like the way you categorize these two guys. Garcia the cowboy, Dickinson the surgeon, and both have put up impressive numbers this year.
Well, it really is their trademark. I mean, Jeff Garcia loves to attack defenses either by running the football or throwing it down the field, and Dave Dickinson is content to just be patient, dump the ball off, take the reads that he wants to do down the field, and then just look for the open man, even if it's an underneath guy. So different styles, but both drop back quarterbacks. This is another look at the big hit by Leroy Blue. You're allowed to step, and Leroy Blue was well within the rules to hit Garcia in that play and knock him back, and we'll see Dave Dickinson because of it.
Well, there has been somewhat a controversy because Garcia missed one game because of an injury, and Dickinson lit it up for the Stampeders with 5 touchdown passes. Dickinson, I think everybody in the league knows, can do the job if he gets the chance.
He really has proven that. I mean, Dave Dickinson will be a hot commodity this offseason because Wally Buono has already stated that he's only going to be able to keep one of them. Jeff Garcia is opening a restaurant in Calgary. He's the front runner at this point and should be. He's a starter, and he's earned that right. In fact, he earned it in 1995 in this very game. Dave Dickinson has proven that he can get it done, and a lot of teams will be after him.
Quarterback, number 15, Dave Dickinson.
Well, the Iceman in the game, as they call him, he was a star of Montana. Big Sky Country, a Walter Payton Award winner. Out of the same high school as the highly touted Ryan Leaf. In fact, his record stood even after Leaf went through that high school. But Looked like early movement by the Eskimos, and a strike to Alan Pitts at the Edmonton 51. And let's see, were the Eskimos offside or were they drawn?
Well, it looked like they were all offside from my vantage point. It's the different cadence.
Offside, Edmonton, number 90, decline.
I believe they're thinking 92, Robert Brown. It looked like the whole defensive line jumped. It's a different cadence from Dave Dickinson, Jeff Garcia, and Dickinson got him caught.
Stampeders take the 14-yard gain. Dickinson to Pitts.
By Pitts stands, and they check out the job Garcia at the Stampeders sidelines. Dickinson not as mobile, but on the mark. No, that pass was not caught at the 40 as he goes back to Pitts once again. Rio Wells with the coverage.
Well, it wasn't caught, but it's right where Dave Dickinson had to throw the football. Rio Wells had moved to the inside position on Alan Pitts. Comes across the top. Dave Dickinson had to throw that to the outside to give Pitts an opportunity. He just couldn't come up with a catch.
But Pitts with his usual impressive numbers, although he says he's behind the pace he'd like to be at so far this year. A little disappointed that he hasn't had as much work. Second down, and now over the middle, and there's a catch inside the 40 for a first down to Vince Danielson. And Garcia is headed to the Calgary room to get further attention while the yardsticks are being moved and a 12-yard Danielson catch.
We would like to see Jeff Garcia back in this football game. Dickinson finds Danielson as about the third read on the play. He looks to the right first, and then Danielson just kept dragging across and picked him up. But Garcia's a tough guy. Saw him in game 1 get 7 stitches and come back in that football game to win it versus Hamilton. He'll be back.
First down, Dickinson's got it going. And another completion near the 30 as Pitts brings it in. 9 yards that time. Dickinson has the hottest hand of any of the 3 quarterbacks we've seen.
Well, the other advantage that Dave Dickinson has is that he's been on the bench watching the Edmonton defense for a quarter and a half before he comes out there. So he knows what Edmonton is trying to do. He has a good grasp of it. Of course, he has all the skills to execute it. So he's got that advantage over the other two.
He's got 2nd and 1 here, just drives forward. As a safety, did you find it unsettling in the first series when another quarterback came in?
Yeah, it is, because you've game planned the whole time for the starter. Now, with Calgary, you know that they likely could play both at any time, so it's a little bit different, but it is unsettling because you're just getting into the groove with one. You're trying to read his eyes and decide what he's trying to do, and then come back and get the other. It's a little bit different, at least for the first 3 or 4 plays.
Stamps on the move. Minute 25 to go, first half. They lead 9-0, and Dickinson looking for more. That's Anderson out of the backfield. Nifty move there, and he's drilled by Jed Roberts out of touch. But the yardsticks are moving, and the Stamps are driving deeper into Edmonton territory.
This is what I'm talking about, the patience of Dave Dickinson. Alan Pitts was way down the field, but was double covered with the same sort of coverage we've been talking about, so Dickinson has no choice but to dump it off. But what he's hoping is that Kelvin Anderson will break the first tackle. He does that, picks up the first.
14 yards for Anderson, the ball at the Edmonton 13. And already Dickinson 4 for 5, 49 yards. First down, everybody out of the backfield. Here comes the blitz, they get it away. Touchdown, Kelvin Anderson.
The play is all timing. Dave Dickinson knows with Willie Pless coming on the blitz, he is not accounted for in the blocking scheme, and he's got to deliver the football in time, and he just barely got it off.
McMahon Stadium alive, the first touchdown of the afternoon as Dickinson comes off the bench red hot. McLaughlin adds the extra point, and the Stampeders have a 16-0 first half lead. Well, he's the man Wally Bono thought would be the key today. Kelvin Anderson gets it into the end zone for Calgary's first major.
Well, he really is, because, you know, you can look at slot backs and wide receivers, and with your secondary, you can design game plan and coverages to take those guys away to try and double cover the inside guys, etc. But what you can't account for is where Calvin Anderson will be, because he can line up anywhere, wide receiver, in the slot, or in the backfield. He's the guy, and he's the difference for the Calgary Stampeders. But this is timing. Willie Pless is on the blitz. Dickinson had a split second to get that one off. Calvin Anderson's recipient.
Well, I think we could debate who should be number 1 in Calgary, but I don't think there's any debate that the best number 2 man in the Canadian Football League is Dave Dickinson.
No argument for me.
8th touchdown of the year for Anderson. That's a CFL high. Breaking a tie with Inball Clements. Now fans in Edmonton are saying, well, if their guy comes off the bench and does that, maybe Jimmy Kemp should be looked at.
Well, Kay Stevenson will likely give David Archer 1 more series, maybe 2, and then look at Jimmy Kemp. Jimmy Kemp's 4-1 as a starter with the Eskimos.
Looking for a change of pace. Here's Williams. Strung out. Jack Kellogg trying to track him down, and Gizmo runs out of room on the Eskimo sideline. So 63 seconds remaining in the first half. An 8-play drive. Jeff Garcia started it. Dave Dickinson and Kelvin Anderson finished it.
Yeah, Dave Dickinson did a nice job of distributing the football to different players, involving Kelvin Anderson and taking what the defense was giving him. Every defense has a hole. You got to find it if you're on offense, and Dickinson did that in that series.
So the Eskimos need something positive to happen in the late stages of this first half. And that one dropped by Mills.
That caught Pekin.
Alondra Johnson was in the neighborhood, and Mills wanted to find out how close he was.
Exactly. It's like a minefield coming across that middle, especially with Alondra Johnson and Anthony McClanahan. Troy Mills just came across and took a peek before he caught the football.
And Tony Burse has left the offensive alignment for Edmonton. Check that, he's still in there, but was favoring a knee after that last play. Second down, here comes the heat. Archer scrambling and nearly coughed it up. Closest man to the football was William Hampton. And David Archer still looking for answers in this first half.
He's not getting any help from his receivers downfield. It's been that kind of story for the Edmonton Eskimos all year. They really haven't had a guy that can win the one-on-one battle. Steve Anderson comes from the outside. Tony Burse was injured. He's having problems blocking from that side, and Archer had to just throw that one away. Very likely, almost threw an interception on it.
And now Burse does leave, hobbling to the Eskimo bench. And Fleming punts it away. Vaughn breaks one tackle, still going, but going backwards with 39 seconds to go in the first half. Loss of 1 as Ian Hallworth checks out Tony Burse at the Eskimo bench. Glenn, 8 possessions for the Eskimos now, 6 punts to safety, and they've turned it over on downs.
We may see Jimmy Kemp before long, but I really don't think it's David Archer's fault so far in this football game. He really isn't getting a whole lot of help from his receivers. They're not getting open downfield, and you can't do it all yourself. You can't throw and catch it.
Kemp looked so sharp last week, particularly the first half against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Completed his first 9 passes of that football game. Dickinson at the helm now, in relief of Garcia. The long out didn't get there, intended for Aubrey Cummings.
I once marked it out. From the hash mark to the wide field out is a 48-yard throw.
And you've got to throw it on a line.
You have to throw it on a line, 48 yards for a 5-yard gain. And Dave Dickinson threw it about 40.
He came in relief of Garcia last year in the Western Semi. Of course, Saskatchewan prevailed that day, but Dickinson rolled up 292 yards, a pair of touchdowns, and a relief roll. Flag down. Dixon all day. Now Goods picks up the pursuit. Still, look at the steamboats. And now completion to Danielson across the 40, 22 seconds remaining in the half.
To the outside, flag is thrown.
Robert Brown jumped offside, and then when he tried to get back, it looked like he hurt himself, and he was basically a non-factor in the pass rush.
The one Aubrey on the end should be there.
Robert Brown is right in here. He's going to take a jump step, try and get back, and then extend that left leg. He's hurt and he's lying on the turf, so it becomes just a three-man rush for the Edmonton Eskimos. And, of course, that's 3-on-5, which is why Dickinson had so much time to throw the football.
So Brown goes off. Jed Roberts is in. First down, Calgary. Here's Dickinson. Pitts! And Alan Pitts has it at the Edmonton 45. 15 seconds on the clock, and the Stampeders get a big 29-yard pass completion to Alan Pitts to move into scoring position again.
Trent Brown got caught. We needed safety help for the Edmonton Eskimos. If you're an Eskimo fan, you needed safety help there. Trent Brown got caught up short. Rio Wells was expecting help, and Pitts got in behind him.
Stampeders into the hurry-up, but they'll have to wait because Benny Goods is down now. Robert Brown just went off. Now Goods, and the Eskimos' front four is vastly depleted without those two.
Well, this is what happened to the Edmonton Eskimos last year at Labor Day. They got beat up pretty good. We're playing with a makeshift secondary.
Lose that guy.
No. That changes a lot of things for you offensively if you're the Calgary Stampeders and you don't have to put two offensive linemen on your nose guard defensively to change your game plan in a big way.
Well, the course of this game made an abrupt turn when the Eskimos knocked Garcia out, and Dave Dickinson came on fire, 7 for 9, and already 98 yards in the touchdown pass to Anderson. But he's not done yet in this first half. First down at the Edmonton 45. Look at the time. Throwing, complete, Travis Moore. And Moore is inside the 30, but time ran out. Moore didn't get down in time. Dickinson shakes his head because they squandered a chance for 3 more. Wally Buono letting his receiver know that he should have gone down.
Travis Moore has to know the time on the clock and the time remaining. He fought for 3-4 more extra yards. Wouldn't have mattered for a field goal attempt. Turns out they don't get a chance at it.
Nevertheless, it was a big first half for the Stampeders. They prevailed defensively, and with Dave Dickinson, got things rolling late in the half. And after 30 minutes of football in the Labor Day Classic, they lead it 16-0.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by TELUS. Basic human communication.
Welcome back to Calgary, where the Stampeders have a 16-0 lead at halftime in front of a sold-out stadium here in Calgary. It's a beautiful day here, sunny and hot. The Edmonton Eskimos couldn't get anything going offensively in the first half. David Archer having some trouble. He's coming back after playing in Ottawa 2 years ago. Was in the broadcast booth last year, and now trying to get things back on track with the Eskimos.
What were some of the factors that came into play when you decided to make the comeback?
Well, I think sitting upstairs and watching the games, I found myself kind of chomping at the bit a little bit to try to come out and make some things happen. And then being on the field right before the game started, a lot of times the broadcasters are out on the field just before you go up in the booth and get ready to do your job. You get a chance to feel the emotion on the field and talk to some of the guys. And then I'm ushered off the field. I'm used to staying out there. That kind of bothered me a little bit. And then things came together with the Edmonton situation. So it all came together And that's it all. That was what brought me back.
Why the Eskimos? Why not other teams? There was some thought that you might go with Ron Lancaster, that people thought, yeah, there's a good fit.
Well, I like Ronnie. I think Ronnie's one of the great coaches that's ever coached in this league and maybe in pro football, period. It just came together because Edmonton is an organization that nobody really needs to talk much about. All they have to do is look at the banners that are hanging up in Commonwealth Stadium, or look at the long list of players that have come out of there, than all Canadian players. They're always in the hunt. They always have a chance to win it. And then when a coach that I'm very familiar with gets the job, it all came together. And I felt like that maybe there was a little too much karma there that I needed to jump on board.
You had a year off from football. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages of having that time away from the game?
Well, I think the advantages is the body's very fresh. I felt pretty good. My arm didn't suffer at all. I felt like that one of the disadvantages would be that I hadn't thrown very much, and I felt like that maybe that was going to be some of the rust. But when I came back, my arm felt great, felt very strong. Now, timing and being able to work some things out, that was something that took a long time to come to in training camp, and it was towards the end of training camp where I started really feeling comfortable about seeing things and getting the ball out on time.
Now, you must have had a very frustrating season so far with the injury. Did you think that was going to be a season-long hurt?
Yeah, I felt like the injury, the abdominal pull, was going to probably put me in a situation where I was going to have to play with pain the rest of the season if I got a chance to play. Fortunately, I've been able to get together with a massage therapist, and she's rectified those situations, and I feel good about going into this ball game.
Were you frustrated, though? Did you feel at times like, you know, I've come back, who knows how many times I'm going to get to play again, and now this happens?
Yeah, I don't have many shots left. There's no question about that. And to be standing on the sidelines and watching chance after chance go away because I'm standing over there with an injury certainly became very frustrating for me, and the days got very long. When you're not doing anything, the days become extremely long, and I've had some long days over the last five weeks.
You're coming back halfway through the season, and you're playing a big game here. This is the march toward the playoffs. How do you feel about coming back on Labor Day?
Yeah, I'm excited that I have a chance to come back and play in this ball game. I think that being a guy that likes to look at the league and look at the history of the league and this and that, I feel like that this, if I could pick two games to play in, it would be in this game and it'd be in the Grey Cup. And I feel very fortunate to have a chance to play in this one.
David Archer with some high hopes for Labor Day, but so far it's been a very frustrating day as the Eskimos offense hasn't got on track. Calgary Stampeders have been dominating so far. They have a 16-0 lead at halftime. And we'll have more of the halftime show on the CFL on CBC after this.
Until now, sanding any surface that wasn't flat meant back-breaking work for hands. But the new Dremel Contour Sander gives hands a break. With 18 available contours, it can sand spindles, beaded furniture, fancy molding, wood window frames, even a louvered door. It's lightweight and compact, so you get a hand finish without the hand work. The Dremel Contour Sander. Hands just can't say enough good things about it.
Ericsson is a world leader in digital communication. We make phones so small, they go just about anywhere.
When you're serious about the game, you need serious equipment. So get to the Canadian Tire Serious Hockey Sale and save like never before. With low prices on senior and junior equipment from the biggest names in hockey. CCM Tack Skates, Easton E-Flex Composite Stick, Easton Ultralight Pro Gloves, Titan ASD Exchange Sticks. You play like no one else. So get to Canadian Tire Serious Hockey Sale. And save like no one else. The Serious Hockey Sale. Don't miss it.
So what do you guys want to do now? I don't know. What do you feel like doing, Louise?
Oh, this is what we always do. Well, yeah.
Big money. Triple threat on the rail and
Hey, I know what we could do.
I bet you do.
Come on, let's go.
Come play the horses and get your mind racing.
Hey, welcome to Pro Tips. Wow, I tell you what, today we have two of the premier pass rushers in the CFL with us, Grant Carter and Joe Fleming. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, Chris. What we're going to show today is a twist between the tackle and the end. We call it a sub, and it helps eliminate the one-on-one blocks between the offensive linemen.
When running a sub, the key thing for the end is to get hard penetration up the line of scrimmage, create a window of opportunity, become the penetrator, and dive hard inside towards the quarterback. As the inside tackle takes a hard step and sells it, he'll wrap around and become the outside player.
You want to make sure as the tackle wrapping around that you maintain contain on the quarterback, always having good leverage on him.
Let's try one here. On one, guys. Set, go.
Good job. Good work. Good job, Ian. Good job, Tyler.
Oh, wow, what a tip. I tell you what, if I'm a quarterback, after these guys learn what they're learning, I'd be fearing for my life. Great job.
Good job. Sell it inside. Good job. Good work.
Go. Good job, man.
Well, the hometown fans at McMahon Stadium happy with the opening 30 minutes of football as the Stampeders lead the Eskimos 16-0 in the Labor Day Classic, and you're a lot like Dan Kepley, that little smirk when the defense dominates as they did in the first half.
Well, I love to see it. I mean, both sides, the defense was dominating this game. I mean, they set the tone early in the game when Dave Archer on a third down gamble dropped the football, and that was a great stop by the Calgary defense. It was a miscue by Dave Archer. He drops it, and Calgary defense holds them on that play, take the ball back. But it was a great front four effort from the Calgary defensive line, led by Bronzell Miller, who on this play gets pressure on Archer and hits him just as he releases it. Now, all game so far, this has been the story for David Archer. He hasn't had a whole lot of time. Now, while the defenses were dominating, Dave Dickinson said, I can show you something a little bit different. Came in relief late in the half, hit Alan Pitts, which led to the Calvin Anderson touchdown.
Well, a remarkable difference in that half. Jeff Garcia, 5 first downs in 27 minutes. In 3 minutes, Dave Dickinson put up 8 first downs and the touchdown pass to Calvin Anderson.
Yeah, he really did a nice job, and he had the advantage, Chris, of watching for the first quarter to see what the Edmonton defense was doing. He came on the field, and he executed the offense well.
So the numbers in the first half dominated by the Calgary Stampeders as they win the battles defensively, but also with Dave Dickinson start to pull away here. But remember, the Edmonton Eskimos won 3 of the 4 meetings last year, and in all 3 victories, they came from behind in one game from 2 touchdowns down. So 30 minutes of football, maybe Jimmy Kemp in the second half.
The kids wanted to go out for some Mexican food. You decided to take them someplace really authentic. Finally, a minivan built for drivers. 180 horsepower V6, standard 4-wheel ABS, traction control. The Pontiac Transport.
In a busy clinic like this, things can get pretty crazy. Like the other day, a headache hit and I needed fast relief. I could have taken aspirin or Tylenol, but more and more doctors are now recommending Advil. They say just one Advil's tough on headaches. And they're right. One is often enough.
And now there's Children's Advil for 8 hours of fever relief.
Are you the kind of girl who likes a bit of a frill? A working woman dressed to kill? An underwire, a high-cut brief? A romantic vision or chic black sheep? Tapered toes, fishnet hose. Everyone's asking where'd you get those clothes? I like your style, call it versatile. Baby, you're just like me. Come see the softer side of sea.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's that time of the year again. They're going back. It's back to school time at Staples. Staples has over 7,000 supplies at guaranteed low prices.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Calgary Stampeders leading the Edmonton Eskimos 16-0 here as the third quarter is almost ready to get underway. In Hamilton today, it was the Argonauts going against the Ticats. Olive with the reception here breaks a few tackles, pitches it. Morelli pitching to Olive. He gets a touchdown, 33 yards, dives over for the touchdown. Danny McManus now a 1-yard plunge. He gets the TD, and then the big defensive play by Hamilton, the goal line stand in the second quarter. Mumford with the big hit on Bell, knocking him over and celebrating with the fans in Hamilton. He had 4 quarterback sacks today, as the Hamilton Tiger Cats beat Toronto 26-7, a huge victory for them on Labor Day. Now let's send it up to Chris and Glenn.
Well, Mark, it's been a day for the defenses, but Dave Archer loosening up, and he can change the complexion of a football game in a hurry if he can get untracked in this second half. Jeff Garcia also warming up, knocked out of the box in the first half, but warming up on the sidelines with Dave Dickinson. So it'll be interesting to see who Wally Buono starts in the second half for Calgary.
Dickinson and Garcia warming up on the bench, and Garcia had about 7 stitches there, it looked like, under his chin.
There is Jimmy Kemp, the backup. Now he's loosening up as well for the Eskimos.
Well, I would say that David Archer may have 1 or 2 more series to get something done.
Kickoff going out of bounds
31
at the 32-yard line. Let's take a look at the numbers in the first 30 minutes of football. And remember, the net yards include a 62-yard loss on the safety against Edmonton.
Yeah, but the Edmonton offense really haven't got anything going, and this yardage right here is largely due to Dave Dickinson's last drive. He scored with Kelvin Anderson, and then the drive after that he put up some good yards where Travis Moore just didn't get down in time just to end the half. So a lot of late yards there for the Calgary Stampeders.
With the out-of-bounds kickoff, the ball spotted on the 45. First down for the Stampeders. And Dave Dickinson remains the quarterback. Dickinson out of the backfield. There's Anderson. Look at Willie Pless close, forcing him out at the 51. Gain of 6 for Anderson. The fastest man on the Calgary Stampeders. That surprised me yesterday.
It surprised me as well. George Cortez, the offensive coordinator, asked us, who do you think the fastest guy is? And I went through all the DBs first. Of course, I would do that. Yeah. And then I went over to the receivers. And then he said, no, quite frankly, it's Calvin Anderson. He ran a 4.240. He's the fastest guy on the team.
No offense to Dave, but I thought it was a stretch when you first guessed Dave Van Bellingham, the safety.
You got to pick the safeties first.
Second down 4. And here's Melvin Hunter with a beat on Dickinson and pulling him down behind the line of scrimmage. Melvin, big game Hunter with a sack, forcing a third down.
Yeah, that was a team sack for the Edmonton front 4 because they really collapsed the pocket. Sometimes you get the great one-on-one moves, and Melvin Hunter, of course, working on Rocco Romano, got inside and got the sack, but really Dave Dickinson saw that pocket collapse around him. Good solid pressure from all 4.
So Martino, the leading punter in the Canadian Football League, is in on third down. And almost blocked. Rio Wells was in. And the ball bouncing. Don Blair will field it in the end zone and give up the single point. So that will up the lead to 17 points on the third single for Tony Martino this year. Let's join Mark Conway.
71-yard single for Tony Martino. Stampeders 17 and the Eskimos no score.
Hook up with Mark momentarily. Ball out to the 35. A single point for Martino on the 68-yard punt.
Will be David Archer for another series or 2. Kay wants to give him every opportunity to play in this football game.
Well, with the injury plague first half, they want to get him as many downs as possible. That sums up the kind of day it's been so far as Troy Mills tripped up by the turf monster and a loss of 3.
Dave Archer was real close to Troy Mills, and I'm not sure when he handed that ball off, he might not have tripped the running back coming out of the backfield. very close, but you're right. When it rains, it pours, and right now the Edmonton Eskimos can't get anything going. Right here. Yep, yeah, he did step right on the foot of David Archer. They get close right to the mesh when they handed the ball off.
Loss of 3. It's 2nd and 13. Better protection and a completion. And Mills stretches out, but he'll be short by a couple of yards. An 11-yard pickup, but it'll be 3rd and 2 Eskimos.
Well, it was a great call by the Calgary Stampeder defense, because all they're going to do is send 3 on the pressure. Drop everybody else into coverage. That forces Archer to dump it underneath, and then you got to just come up and make the tackle. It's called 5 yards and a headache when you're on defense. Let him throw it the 5 and give him a headache.
So Fleming back in.
3rd and 2 Eskimos.
Impressive average on the day. Terry Vaughn, the lone man, back for Calgary. Another good kick. Vaughn from his 23. And works his way to the 34-yard line.
11 yards.
An 11-yard return of a 45-yard Sean Fleming punt. Calgary in command.
44 yards into the lead for Sean.
So what do you guys want to do now? I don't know. What do you feel like doing, Louise?
Oh, this is what we always do. Well, yeah.
Big money. Triple threat on the rail and
Hey, I know what we could do.
I bet you do.
Come on, let's go.
Come play the horses and get your mind racing.
When you're ready to build it, improve it, or fix it, Totem Building Supplies has everything you need to get the job done. Here in Totem's Lumberyard, you'll find a wide selection of building products at a price you can afford. 2 full grades of lumber, concrete products, shingles, and friendly staff that are always happy to help you. At our convenient drive-through lumberyard, we load it for you. You can take it with you or have it delivered the next day. Get the service you deserve. Start at Totem Building Supplies.
It's the service at Totem where building begins.
Jeff Garcia on the sidelines, and that's where he will stay. He came out of the locker room and said he's still feeling a little foggy, so they're going to go with Dave Dickinson the rest of the way unless something happens to him, and Garcia's forced back in.
And again, Mark, last week he took a hit on the head and was knocked out of the Montreal game, so a couple of weeks in a row for Garcia. So Dave Dickinson at the controls, and he's been the most effective quarterback on the field so far today. Harold Martin jumping there. Leroy Blue not in this defensive formation for Edmonton, nor is Robert Brown, as the injuries are taking their toll on the Eskimo side.
Number 38, still first down.
That's no question about it. That's why Dave Dickinson has had more time. Errol Martin is replacing Leroy Blue, and Jed Roberts, who really hasn't played all year, replaces Robert Brown. So it's a makeshift front 4 for the Esks.
Jed Roberts missing 8 with tendonitis, so just his second game. Number 43 alongside Benny Goods, who is back. And here's Dickinson under pressure, and down he goes. And that's Melvin Hunter with his second sack of the afternoon.
Dave Dickinson had a wide open Kelvin Anderson to the outside because Willie Pless, who was involved in the coverage, got all tied up. He's looking left, but if he looks the other way, Kelvin Anderson's still running.
9th sack of the year for Melvin Hunter. You saw Joe Montford, the CFL leader in the opening game today, up to 15 sacks.
Well, Melvin Hunter knows with the younger guys in there, he's got to bring his game up a level.
That's 5 sacks, though, in 2 games for Hunter, 3 against Saskatchewan. Wide open, and a completion to Travis Moore, who gets into Edmonton territory at the 53. So Dickinson mixing it up. And a 25-yard strike to Moore.
I talked about them turning their backs. Look at Willie Pless there. Turn his back on the receiver. He's not sure what Dickinson is looking at. He fades into the middle, and that opens Travis Moore up behind him. Had Willie Pless just stayed right on the hash mark, he would have been in the throwing lane. But he floated into the middle of the field. Dickinson saw it, hit Moore on the end.
1st and 10 at the Edmonton 52.
Hey, Stevenson needs a defensive stand here. His team already down 17-0. 4.5 minutes into the 3rd quarter. An early movement. Rocco Romano, the left tackle, seemed to be ahead of the play. And now Travis Moore's on the limp. Alan Pitts was telling me yesterday.
Procedure. Calgary, number 59. Still 1st down.
That Moore is perhaps considered a role player here, but if he was on another team, he'd probably be the go-to guy. That's how good he is.
Came into camp in the best shape of his life, showed some great speed, and he has been a big play guy, and he stepped on the ankle, I believe, of Rio Wells and twisted his ankle.
His first touchdown in the CFL 4 years ago in the Labor Day Classic. Kelvin Anderson. And Anderson with some room down to the Edmonton 51-yard line on the 1st and 15 call, and he gets 6 back.
I would imagine we'll see a lot of Kelvin Anderson in the second half, simply because the Eskimos front four has 2 backups in it right now, in Jed Roberts and Errol Martin. So I think that the Calgary offense will attack that and run the football.
Anderson, the 96 Rookie of the Year, back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons, and on pace to have his most productive year in the CFL. 2nd and 9. Dickinson steps up, gets by a couple, and now pulled down as he crossed the line of scrimmage by Odie Harris, and he'll be short of the 1st.
Yeah, Odie Harris comes on the blitz from the linebacking position. They haven't shown a lot of that. We've shown them in coverage, but this time, Odie Harris decides to just take off and go. He's going to come from this side of the field. Dave Dickinson doesn't see him coming, and he's the guy who's going to provide the pressure, because Dickinson has to step up, and it's going to be Odie Harris that eventually runs him down. Right there.
Let's go, G. Let's go.
At the 47, it would be a 54-yard attempt for Mark McLaughlin. Instead, Martino to punt. Pin them deep if he can. Gizmo let it bounce in the end zone and through for another single point. 2nd in a row for Martino. This one's 67 yards, and it's now an 18-point Stampeder lead.
Since we opened our Honda plant here, we've been keeping a lot of Canadian companies and the local mayor kind of busy. There were our first international exports, our 1 millionth Canadian-built Honda, and those international awards for quality. And now that we're proudly making Canada home to our new North American minivan plant, we expect the mayor will soon be running again.
Ribness, V-neck, stonewash, sports striping, hip huggers, denim, corduroy, overalls, crew neck. What's in style this season? Low prices. $7.25 at Walmart. Not just great fashion at everyday low prices.
Someday I'm gonna grow up to be when I was just a little boy. Someday I was no bigger than a flea. Someday
Year after year, our wholesome blend of 7 garden vegetables and alphabet pasta has been filling kids up and filling them out. Campbell's, good for the body, good for the soul.
Chris Cuthbert, Clinton Suter, Mark Connolly at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The second half of the season underway. This battle of 6-3 teams, and Calgary riding a 5-game Labor Day win streak, and you can tell who's winning today just by the look on the sidelines.
Well, you did mention that last year Edmonton won 3 out of 4 games. They lost the Labor Day game, but they had to come from behind to win the 3, so it's not over yet.
And they did overcome an 18-point deficit in one game. That's the lead today. And oh, AJ with an enormous hit on an old teammate, Brian Wiggins. Alondra Johnson wanted to make a statement today. He just did.
Oh, boy. That's what this game is all about. A lot of hard hitting, and Alondra Johnson said hello to Brian Wiggins coming across the middle. Wow. Listen to this hit as Alondra Johnson comes across and hits Wiggins.
Hello. The only good news for Wiggins is that Alondra has dropped 15 pounds this year. But he got everything into that. Second down, dumped off Mills, and Troy Mills close to a first down at the 45. And again, Johnson the tackle. Alondra Johnson has been a great linebacker over the years, but always overshadowed by Willie Pless. And he felt if he played a superb game on Labor Day with everybody watching, he might get a little more attention when the postseason awards are handed out.
No question about it. And after the big hit on Wiggins, he comes back and runs down Troy Mills. You know, even when you deliver a hit like that, it takes a lot out of you. But Alondra Johnson sucked it up and went over there and made another big tackle.
95 All-Canadian. He's been in 3 Grey Cup games. 33 years of age now, and says this might be his final year.
He came into camp as focused as Wally Buono's ever seen it.
Another 3rd and 1, Glenn. Remember what happened the last time. Archer better snap from center, and he does have the first down.
And this time the play was called to go to Archer. Last time when he fumbled the ball, he had to take that snap and turn around, and he tried to do it too quickly and dropped it. That's why they go to this call, the second chance, because this way is just a forward motion for David Archer. He can secure the football and then just fall forward.
So the Eskimos get a much-needed first down. We pass the midway point of the 3rd quarter. And the Eskimos still looking for their first points of the game. Here's Mills, right side. And again, that defense has played tough, and 51's there again, making noise in the second half.
Well, there was some criticism thrown at the front 4 of the Calgary Stampeders. We talked about Alondra Johnson wanting to make a statement. I think that whole defensive unit has truly made a statement here this afternoon in the biggest game of the year for them. They are flying around the football right now.
They're number 1 in the league against the run, although Mike Pringle did have some success against them last week. Not the first team he's run against. 2nd and 6. Here comes the rush, and they got Archer again. Blitzing Eddie Davis nails David Archer.
Well, not only are they hustling to the football, but I think it's good coaching as well, because right now they're mixing it up well, the Calgary defense. They're flying around the football. They've got the good pursuit angles, but then they're mixing things up, coming with a secondary blitz from Eddie Davis. He gets in the backfield untouched. David Archer has no chance to throw the football. Yeah, it's fun when you're winning.
First sack of the year for Eddie Davis.
38, Jack, 38.
And again, Sean Fleming. Marvin Coleman up the sidelines, and Coleman to the 35. 46-yard punt, 13-yard return.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Bridgestone Blizzak, now available in 2 tread patterns, Winter Biter and Ice Gripper. Blizzak, the winter tire that sticks to ice.
Back at McMahon Stadium, where the Calgary Stampeders are in command. Eskimos, the green and gold supporters, haven't had much to cheer about. What is remarkable, though, is we've seen over the years Calgary dominate on this day. And I don't know how Edmonton does it, but 5 days later, it's a different ball club.
No question about it. It's just playing in Commonwealth Stadium.
Dave Dickinson back to work. Far side. Travis Moore back in the offensive set. And a 10-yard catch for Moore, who once again seems to be in some difficulty. Talk about 4 1,000-yard receivers in Calgary. It's never been done. The Stamps have had 3 in a season twice, and the Argos also last year. Travis Moore, 1 of 4 on pace this season. But as is the case in the Canadian Football League, especially out west, where this team still has two more games against Edmonton, the back 9 much tougher than the front 9.
Yeah, it becomes more difficult when defenses start to figure you out. Travis Moore went down hard again on that ankle. He twisted it, stepped on Rio Wells' ankle earlier in the game. He went down hard on it again there.
He's at exactly 600 yards on the season with that last catch.
Really is amazing when you think of all 4 receivers over 1,000 yards. They can stay healthy. And Calvin Anderson looking at 1,000 yards rushing. That's some pretty good production from your offense.
Boy, the injury's starting to take their toll on either side. And now the Eskimos are conferring on how to give their quarterback better protection.
They're going to have to work on the offensive game plan. They're going to say, listen, when Eddie Davis comes down low like that, we got to pick him up with the fullback. Can't let him come free.
1st and 10, Calgary at the 45.
So Moore off and a first down for the Stamps at their own 45. Anderson broke the first tackle and gets close to 4 at the 49. Less than Hunter combined again, and they have been the busiest of the Eskimos defenders this afternoon.
I'm wondering if we may see Jimmy Kemp next time the Edmonton Eskimos get the football. He does have a little bit more mobility, although he has a drop back passer than David Archer. And interesting to see if Case Stevenson makes
4 yards for Anderson, 2nd and 6.
The conference continues at the Eskimo bench. Dickinson back to work, 2nd and 6. And that pass knocked down by Rio Wells.
Well, Terry Vaughn became the defensive back on the play.
Rio Wells, number 19.
Rio Wells had the best shot at that one, and Terry Vaughn turned into a defensive back to knock it down. He's up at the top of your screen. He's going to take off, run the curl, and he runs right into Rio Wells, number 19, and he has to strip it from him.
So Vaughn helping his quarterback in another way, and it's 3rd down. Time for Gizmo, and the Eskimos need something to happen. Flag down at the 20. Williams trying to get outside. It's not going to happen, as this Calgary Stampeders special team is containing the most dangerous man in punt return history. A 9-yard loss as Anthony McClanahan and Jason Clement combine to make the tackle.
Yeah, they are dominating in all phases of the game right now. They've moved the ball effectively, and now defensively we've seen them make some big plays. Of course, special teams as well.
Legal procedure, Calgary, no end. 3rd down, repeat it.
Well, an alignment problem for Calgary, so they'll have to punt the ball again.
Now this is twofold, because one, you have to punt it again, so you're automatically going to lose some field position. But the other thing is your punt cover team has just covered about 70 yards of real estate. They have to go back and do it again. And believe me, they're all breathing hard. That's when you can break one.
And the guy that may get the ball has done that 26 times in his career.
This is where you really hope the punter gets it out of bounds.
Roger Reinson is the snapper. Don Blair also back deep for Edmonton, and another flag. And you see Martino, let's get rid of that ball. I think his eyes were on the sidelines.
Looks to me like they have enough players on the field.
Legal procedure, Calgary, number 62. Still 3rd down.
Well, now it really is a big difference in field position. When you think of where Gizmo Williams was pinned on the first punt, where he will even catch the ball on this one, that's a big difference.
So now Martino stands at his 25-yard line. It'll be Don Blair this time. And Blair brought down immediately Aldi Henry. And it's the same story. The Stamp special teams punt return coverage has been exceptional.
Now there's a tire that can survive even this, the Goodyear Eagle F1 Run Flat. Even with no air pressure, Goodyear Run Flat technology lets you drive up to 80 kilometers at 85 kilometers per hour to safety, so you won't get stuck with a flat.
Now that proves a point, huh?
Eagle F1 Run Flat.
Don't try this at home, folks. Sorry.
Goodyear, Goodyear.
One turn for the worse. Split-second reaction. 180 degrees from nowhere. 4 days overdue. And 3 months recovery equals 1 score to be settled. For all you do, this bud's for...
I'm playing the new game, Barrel of Ducks. Trick is to coax the winning ticket to come out. Eventually, we'll show itself, sir. Nobody move.
Mr. Nielsen.
Shh.
Mr. Nielsen. What? It's called Barrel of Bucks.
Barrel of Bucks. That's a good game, too.
Win up to $20,000 with Barrel of Bucks, now at your lottery ticket center.
Barrel of Bucks. Anyone know how to do a buck call? Buck, 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 buck. Sounds like a chicken.
Errol Martin cooling down. Hot afternoon at McMahon Stadium, where the Stampeders are in control. The Eskimos have not won here on Labor Day since 1992. Scott Dybert into the game at the fullback position, replacing the injured Tony Burse, who's gone for the day with a hamstring problem. David Archer remains the quarterback, looking downfield, and incomplete, intended for Don Blair, and he hasn't called Blair's number often this afternoon.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't had a whole lot of time to find Don Blair. Usually the wide receiver, it takes a little bit longer to get him the football. He's further away from David Archer to start with, so he's got to hold it in the pocket a little longer, and that Calgary defense hasn't allowed it so far in this game. But this time Archer thought, just going to let it rip and see if my receiver can come up with a big play, but Marvin Coleman was having nothing of it.
Impressive numbers from Blair, third in the league. Dave Archer told him before the season started, I think you can be a top 3 guy in the league. And already he's matched last year's numbers for an entire season. Looking the other way, incomplete. Mark Tobert, the intended receiver, but Eddie Davis, who's had a strong afternoon, was step for step with his man.
Man-to-man across the board with safety help for the Calgary Stampeders. They're just going to drop back, play man-to-man, and break when the man comes out to you. A little in and out from Eddie Davis, and corner on that side, William Hampton, and they picked it up nicely, and Mark Tolbert just ran out of real estate.
Well, the dilemma for Kay Stevenson is he wants to give Dave Archer as many opportunities as possible to find a rhythm, to get sharp. He's the man they'll count on in the second half, but at the same time, there must be that feeling that maybe Jimmy Kemp can start to turn things around. Archer 7 for 20, 64 yards on the day.
Yeah, well, I would agree with that, simply because Jimmy Kemp has played the last 4 games, and he's had way more reps with the starting offense, so he may be way more sharp than David Archer is. David Archer's had his chance. At the end of the third quarter, it's time to give Kemp a shot.
And Friday, Glenn Sinner will be at Commonwealth Stadium.
Yeah, that's always a great game as well. You get the big crowd in Commonwealth, and it's their turn to get behind the home team, and usually Edmonton who prevails in that one.
Friday night football. Dave Dickinson looking for Bond. Malcolm Frank with the tackle, but that'll be close to a first down pending the spot.
Well, the way this game is going, the Edmonton defense have to come up with a big play. They can't just be content to Allow the Calgary receivers to catch it underneath and then come up and tackle them. Someone in that huddle has to lift the team up, come up with an interception or a fumble return, and take it back the other way. They need a spark because they're out of this one at this point.
Cavis Reed has done that in the past. In fact, he did it in the second half of last year's Labor Day game. Second and short. Anderson bouncing off one man. Leroy Blue and spins to what should be a first down.
And it was that spin that got Kelvin Anderson the first down. Leroy Blue back in the game, and Kelvin Anderson with a little second effort because he's hit right at the point of attack by Blue. Good right shoulder, but Anderson keeps working and keeps the feet moving. Just falls forward and gets the necessary yardage, or at least they'll let us know in a second if it was enough.
It is indeed. And Kelvin Anderson now 11 carries, 59 yards, and has caught 4 for 39 on a touchdown pass. So Anderson's been a double threat.
He's getting up to the total. I talked about it earlier that in the 3 losses for the Stamps, he averaged 36 yards, and in the 6 wins, up around 76. He's closer to 76 in this one.
First down, and Dickinson throwing the long out. And drilled out of bounds. Cavis Reed, Aubrey Cummings over there, the intended receiver. We're in the final minute, third quarter.
The long out becomes the long ouch if the ball is thrown up in the air like that. Aubrey Cummings, this is Cavis Reed, and he's just going to bear down. Watch this. He sees the out coming, and he's just going to line up Cummings, just keep on moving, and take a shot at those ribs.
Well, Jeff Garcia was saying he thought that Reed's probably the most dangerous man on the corner that he faces in the CFL.
50 games, 20 interceptions, 5 for touchdowns.
Second and 10. Pitts climbed the ladder, pulls it down, and Alan Pitts is on the run. Brought down by Reed, but a 17-yard gain for Pitts.
Dwayne Provo made a cardinal error. He jumped up for the football, and he underestimated the size and jumping ability of Alan Pitts. Provo's going to jam him, and then when the ball's in the air, he jumps thinking he's going to get the interception. Well, I don't think so. Pitts climbs the ladder, and at 6'4", pulls the football down.
47th catch on the year. He's over 700 yards. 95 touchdowns in his career. Brian Kelly, the CFL leader, at 97. Last play of the third quarter. Swing pass Anderson, and a good tackle there by the cornerback Malcolm Frank. We're through 45 minutes of the Labor Day Classic, and Calgary continues to dominate on home turf.
When you're serious about the game, you need serious equipment. So get to the Canadian Tire Serious Hockey Sale and save like never before. With low prices on senior and junior equipment from the biggest names in hockey. CCM Tack Skates, Easton E-Flex Composite Stick, Easton Ultralight Pro Gloves, Titan ASD Exchange Sticks. You play like no one else. So get to Canadian Tire Serious Hockey Sale. And save like no one else. The Serious Hockey Sale.
Discover the imagination of Disney gone wild. You could win one of 10 trips for 4 to Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park in Florida. Flights courtesy of Signature Vacations. It's alive with fun, thrills, and adventure. To enter, look for this display in participating stores carrying these products.
I'm playing the new game, Barrel of Ducks. Trick is to coax the winning ticket to come out. Eventually, we'll show itself, sir. Nobody move.
Mr. Nielsen. Shh. Mr. Nielsen. What? It's called Barrel of Bucks.
Barrel of Bucks. That's a good game, too.
Win up to $20,000 with Barrel of Bucks, now at your lottery ticket center.
Barrel of Bucks. Anyone know how to do a buck call? Buck, 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 buck. Sounds like a chicken.
Looks refreshing. Tastes refreshing. Labatt Light. Right out of the ice.
Once again, the playground, the
I told Dave Archer it was easier in the broadcast booth. That's the Eskimo quarterback under the towel.
Yeah, and then you know he's disappointed. He looked forward to this game when he signed a contract with the Edmonton Eskimos this year. This is the game he wanted to play in, and it hasn't gone well for him, as you can see by the numbers. I mean, the passing yards is 64. I mean, a lot of that you have to give credit to the Calgary defense. They've had tremendous pressures throughout the game and good coverage downfield, and really, David Archer's had nowhere to throw the football. And that time of possession will start to wear on the defense, and it's a lot of fun when you're winning, especially with the full stadium behind you.
Edmonton fans ready with the rail down to the...
Anthony McClanahan hamming it up on the sidelines as the Stamps offense goes back to work. Here's a pass knocked down over the middle. Errol Martin getting a hand on it, and it will be 3rd down.
Errol Martin, if you can't get pressure on the quarterback, get your hands up. You never know what can happen, and he got his hand on that football. Doesn't get there in time. He's blocked on the line of scrimmage, so hey, I'll put my hands up and knock it down, but Jed Roberts thought he may have a shot at that one. And you know what? The Edmonton Eskimos needed a big play like an interception.
But the Stampeders, who made 5 turnovers last week against the Alouettes, have been very protective of the football this afternoon. 37-yard attempt by Mark McLaughlin. He's hit from 49 today, but he misses this one. And it will go for another single point. So the lead now 19. Kay Stevenson ready to make a quarterbacking change at McMahon.
Each day the cartoonist feels the rush of taming the empty page with a new idea, rivaled only by the adrenaline surge of the almighty deadline. Why trust lunatic couriers when you can drive it yourself? Some say the pen is mightier than the sword, but if you miss your deadline, bring the sword.
The 2.2-liter engine of the Chevrolet Cavalier is mightier than the pen, sword, or deadline.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
Honey, what are you doing? Hey, this is all my expensive sporting equipment.
I told you.
Honey, look, I promise. More time with you, less time with sports.
You promise?
Of course I do. I love you. Oh! My car.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Call 1-888-SPEEDY-8 for a Speedy near you.
A deflating afternoon for Dave Archer, who wanted to have some early success. He would have taken later success, but this has been the story of the day.
Yeah, it's been a tough day for David Archer. He's had tons of pressure. He didn't get the handle on that snap earlier in the game, and really hasn't gone well for him, and you know he's frustrated. He looked forward to this one. In a big way.
Troy Mills finding a hole right side, and Mills explodes up to midfield. Eskimos looking for a spark in this final quarter. Mills provides a 20-yard pickup.
Well, Troy Mills can look in the mirror at the end of this game and say that he did his job. He has really worked hard when he's carried the football. He's found the holes, and he's run hard and really broke the tackles all the way down the field all game. So he's one of the guys on the Edmonton sideline that can say they really put in the effort.
So Mills the running back, and Jimmy Kemp at quarterback. 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games for Kemp. Mills again, and he spins down to the 49 of Calgary. 6 more for the Eskimo running back. Jimmy Kemp was red hot last week against Saskatchewan.
Oh, he was on fire, especially in the first half. He came out and just moved the ball down the field, scored a touchdown in his opening drive, and Jimmy Kemp, I talked to defensive linemen around the league, and what a lot of people don't know about him is that he's got pretty good mobility. Defensive linemen say that he is sneaky quick.
Mills has done the bulk of the rushing, and he'll take the ball again. Right side, ran through one tackle, and at the 39, Mills moves the yardstick again before Alondra Johnson finally finishes him off.
Well, Troy Mills has really been the guy carrying the mail, and he's doing it, remember, without Tony Burse blocking in front of him. Scott Dybert has had to come in and replace Burse at the fullback position, and the tailback always needs that fullback for the first block. Dybert has done a pretty good job.
I think this is not what the Eskimos need now.
No, not another injury, especially to Troy Mills, but hopefully for Edmonton fans and for their team that he's just trying to catch his breath.
Glenn, he's been the offense. 84 yards rushing on 11 carries, 4 receptions for 41 yards. I mean, that's the Eskimos' totals for the day.
Well, no question about it. We talked about it right at the beginning of the game that one of the receivers for the Edmonton Eskimos had to emerge as a go-to guy, and really, we haven't talked about Brian Wiggins but once when he got hit by Alondra Johnson, and Don Blair has been non-existent. Quarterbacks need some help.
And the last 5 first downs for the Eskimos have been on the ground, none through the air.
There's the matchup. Troy Mills, the edge in the yards, and he's working hard. He's the guy who just left the field, but Kelvin Anderson has done his job, and it started early, establishing the run and allowing Dickinson to come in and throw the ball.
First and 10.
Defense had to respect both.
And while Mills has better numbers, obviously the supporting cast has done a better job for Calgary. First and 10, and Kemp sneaks out of trouble. And Jimmy Kemp on the move will step out near the 25. That's another first down. And the elusive quality you talked about right there.
Yeah, when you're talking about sneaky quick, well, what is sneaky quick? Well, this is exactly what the defensive linemen are talking about. He doesn't look real mobile, but all of a sudden you have him in your sights, he sneaks away, and then when he starts running, as Bronzell Miller found out, he's pretty quick to the outside. Sneaky quickness.
You'd be quick too if Bronzell Miller was giving chase.
That's called running for your life.
We're 3 minutes into the 4th quarter. Kemp over the middle, stretching out and making the catch, Shannon Myers. And it's another Eskimo first down at the 15. And finally, the green and gold supporters have something to cheer.
Huge catch for Shannon Myers for 2 reasons. One, he's heading into traffic, and you know you're going to get hit into traffic. And 2, he was injured early in the game, and in fact, it was a hand injury. Shannon Myers cuts across the middle. He makes that catch in traffic with a bad hand.
19-0 Calgary, but the Eskimos are threatening. Mills back in, draw play. Check that Dybert, and he's down to the 7. Scott Dybert, the former Calgary Colt of the Prairie Football League and graduate of Minot State in the backfield.
Scott Dybert was projected to be drafted in the 1st round. He tested out very well. He's strong with great speed. He didn't go till the 3rd round to Edmonton, and the S really felt like they got a steal. And that's a tendency breaker, that play, because the Calgary defense didn't think that the ball would go to Dybert.
Best drive of the day with Jimmy Kemp at the helm. 2nd and 3, and Mills is back. Great fake by Kemp, and Jimmy Kemp is in. Touchdown.
Oh, what a fake by Jimmy Kemp.
He froze me.
Yeah, I was looking the other way for a brief second there too, and all of a sudden he's taken off the other way. You know, when you run the ball effectively, and we've seen Troy Mills and Dybert have some success running, that's what play action will do for you. Great fake to Troy Mills, and it was just a foot race to the end zone.
And he beat Van Bellingham to the goal line. His 3rd touchdown carry of the season. And there's time on the clock. 10:36 to go. Fleming adds the extra point. And they're within 2 converted touchdowns of the lead. It's a 12-point Calgary advantage.
Welcome to Lubeck's drive-through oil change,
where customer service is our #1 priority.
At Lubeck's, we are fast and friendly.
And convenient, with 14 locations in Edmonton.
At Lubeck's, we give a 20-point vehicle inspection with every oil change.
And Lubeck's uses only warranty-approved products.
And is home to Quaker State, Canada's leading motor oil.
Come to Lubeck's fast oil change.
And friendly quality service.
It began with Bill Lang. Then Grant Jelinas took the reins. Now Warren Michaels is in the saddle. He's your Robin Hood of consumer rights. If you have a consumer problem, call Warren Michaels on the CBC Edmonton News Action Line.
Enjoy a great lifestyle. Choose Devon. Avoid the traffic. Work near and live in Devon. Just 10 minutes from the International Airport.
Freeze it right when you see 92 black.
Well, Jimmy Kemp has put a different complexion on this football game. 10:32 to go. An impressive scoring march as Edmonton on the board.
Well, I mix it up well, but the great fake, I mean, here's the fake to Troy Mills and Steve Anderson. Hold it right there, 92. He is right in the corner of your screen there, and he bought it all the way, ran all the way across the formation with Troy Mills, and Kemp was on his own.
John Fleming to kick off after the Eskimo touchdown.
Fleming kicks it off. And this one will sail through the end zone. And come out to the 25, a 95-yard kickoff.
And the Stampeders.
As the quarterbacks will convert 7 plays.
And it was a good mix. Sorry, Chris. It was a good mix of running plays and time of possession at 3:40. Controlled the football and then mixed in a couple of passes. Nice catch by Shannon Myers in that drive. And Kemp's got him on the board. And you know what? That's a lot of momentum. A defense that's been pounded a little bit is now on the field for Edmonton. They've got a bit of a lift. Thanks in part to that man.
Troy Mills has got a monster day for Edmonton offensively.
1st and 10.
And now, let's see how this highly regarded Eskimo defense responds after the touchdown. Anderson, great spin by Anderson, made another miss. But Anderson, a nifty 7-yard run.
Sometimes a running play is well blocked, and sometimes it's just a great individual effort by your tailback to get it done. And this time, it's the latter. Kelvin Anderson does a nice job. There's nothing at the point of attack, but he keeps working. A spin move there, a little deke on Dwayne Provo, and he did that all on his own.
Only 19 yards last week against Montreal. Then again, Calgary got behind and took the Stamps out of their game plan. Dickinson over the middle, and there's Vince Danielson. And a big first down for the Stampeders. 12-yard catch by the rangy slot back, the former UBC Thunderbird.
Well, this play is allowed to happen because Danielson can get all the way across the field. He's right there. He comes across the field, and because Dave Dickinson has lots of time, he gets to the far hash mark, and I can guarantee you that Odie Harris doesn't like to run that far to have to cover a guy. That's too long.
Danielson approaching 700 yards, led the Stamps in receiving a year ago. At the Calgary 44, Dickinson, Pitts, midfield, first down. And Willie Pless, the tackler for Edmonton.
Willie Pless, number 39.
Well, Pless had to make the tackle because he got caught short. Dickinson turned with the football. He got caught only about 2 yards deep. Had he taken a proper drop, you see to the left of your screen, if he gets a little deeper, he is right in the passing lane. Kind of too slow to get back into that drop, and Pitts got him behind.
You called Dickinson the surgeon. The doctor is in the house. 16 of 21 since relieving Jeff Garcia. And now Anderson. And he has yet another 7-yard run, and you got to like that. How many times have we seen that today for Anderson? But Vince Danielson, you saw top of your screen with a little emotion and some shoving, and flags are on the turf. And Vince shaking his head.
He was involved. He was right in the mix where...
Necessary roughness, Calgary, number 88, after the play was dead. Second down.
Well, he was caught right up in the mix where Kelvin Anderson was tackled. It's a little bump from Trent Brown, and it's always the retaliation that the officials will see. And that right hook to the left cheek of Brown that caught.
Food Company is proud to support the Stampeder Football Club.
Stampeders, the most penalized team in the Canadian Football League at the halfway point. That's a surprise. And the man off the bench did the job today. Dickinson, pressure, down he goes. Jed Roberts with the sack, and it'll be third down. So after a couple of first downs, the Eskimos do shut the door, and they're going to get the football back for Jimmy Kemp.
Well, Willie Pless comes on the on the linebacker blitz right up the A-gap, or right between the center and the guard, and he provides the early pressure. Jed Roberts will get the sack, but when you're backed up against the wall, you need to make something happen defensively. Why not send everybody?
Come on, offense!
Still over half the fourth quarter to go, and a 12-point Calgary lead. Gizmo at his 28, and he has not found any room against that punt coverage of Calgary today.
He eventually saw the penalty marker.
Say hello to the 1999 Nissan Pathfinder. With air conditioning, CD audio system, and shift-on-the-fly four-wheel drive. Adventure has never felt this comfortable before. Check out the 1999 Pathfinder now during our Come In for a Spin event at your local Nissan dealer.
Discover the imagination of Disney gone wild. You could win one of 10 trips for 4 to Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park in Florida. Flights courtesy of Signature Vacations. It's alive with fun, thrills, and adventure. To enter, look for this display in participating stores carrying these products.
I have long-distance news. Sprint Canada has changed forever the way you use long distance. Unlimited calling in Canada.
Call to anywhere in Canada and talk all you want evenings and weekends for just $20 a month or less. For unlimited long distance in Canada, call 1-800-THE-MOST.
You could say this is revolutionary.
Looks refreshing. Tastes refreshing. Bad Light. Right out of the ice.
Eskimos still in this as Jimmy Kemp puts them on the board in the fourth quarter. Our next game, the CFL on CBC, and the road to the Grey Cup from Skydome. Next Saturday, the BC Lions off a tough loss against Montreal. You were in Vancouver on the weekend. It's great to have you on board.
Hey, I'm having fun.
Lions v. Argos next Saturday, and here at McMahon, we're far from done. Kemp back at the controls. Looks to the near side and has a completion to Wiggins at the 50. Pickup of close to 5 as Marvin Coleman limited the damage.
29 to help with the tackle.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of Brian Wiggins in this football game, and this is the guy that the Edmonton Eskimos are hoping will become the go-to guy for this offense. There has been 7 receivers that have lined up so far this year in that position. Brian Wiggins is the 8th.
Now, you saw a lot of him a few years ago, though. Remember a game in '94?
Now, you had to bring this one up.
16 catches, 235 yards against Saskatchewan. Where the heck was the safety?
Well, let's put it this way. I know how to spell Wiggins. I saw his name tag a lot.
There's Donnie Blair on the other side. So Kemp distributing the football to first Wiggins and then Don Blair. And the first down for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Yeah, Don Blair is going to catch the hitch pass to the outside. And it's a good decision for Jimmy Kemp to go to this hurry-up game, this quick passing game. When you get a good pass rush, get rid of that ball in a hurry.
6:10 to go. First down, Edmonton at the Calgary 51. And now it's Mills. Just a pair on that carry. Ray Jacobs, Alondra Johnson in on the tackle.
When you pull offensive linemen and run what's called a counter play, what you can beat it with on defense is penetration. And this is a counter. Troy Mills has got to get out here, but it takes time to develop. If you penetrate, like you saw in '92, Steve Anderson get up in there, all goes for a knot. Penetration will kill the counter.
Are the Eskimos in 3-down range yet or not? With 5.5 minutes to go, they need 2 touchdowns. This is a big second down play, 2nd and 8. Troy Mills unable to make the circus catch as Alondra Johnson was in coverage.
Wow, you know, Alondra Johnson has had a huge game this afternoon. We have seen him throw some vicious hits. He's been solid on the run, and now he is going to go all the way downfield in coverage, dive like a defensive back, and just get a fingertip on that football.
So Kemp strung together a couple of first downs. But it's a punting situation. You can hear the music in the background. Yeah. Just had an over-exuberant fan run the length of the field. You know what would be called the streak?
Yeah. It's warm in here.
Fleming. Angling it, but it bounces into the end zone. And Terry Vaughn letting it bounce around and out. So a single point, and now it's an 11-point game. Let's go back to what you were looking for at the top of the show.
Well, when you think about the Edmonton Eskimos, I mean, looking for another target. Kemp waited until the 4th to get the touchdown. They really haven't found that. They did disrupt the rhythm of Garcia, but then Dickinson came in and did a number on them, and Calgary stopped the run. Well, Eskimos have had some success, but they haven't been able to build on that with a passing game and test the defensive backs. Well, Dickinson's had some success, as has Adam Pitts.
Time out for the 7-11 scoring drive.
Dave Dickinson's been a big story this afternoon, and now with under 5 minutes on the clock, if Wally Wano can get a time-consuming drive from his offense, they'll put number 7 in the victory column. Dickinson in some trouble, and he took a lick. Dave Dickinson sandwiched by Leroy Blue and Willie Pless. Leroy helping him up, but I'm not sure Dave wants to get up.
I don't think he does. He got hit in the back of the head from Willie Pless. Leroy Blue was holding him, and when you get hit in the back of the head, that's where you can get knocked right out cold. But to his credit, Dickinson did get up, and he's going to have to shake this one off.
Yeah, how tough is he? He gets up, and there's 2 Eskimo defenders still down, Robert Brown and Willie Pless.
Robert Brown had the injury problem early when he almost went offside. Looked like he may have pulled a hamstring slightly, but he's back in the game. Now here's the hit. Watch the big hit. That's Blue first, and then Pless coming back. When you get hit in the back of the head like that, your head snaps, you know, tough one, but he got up.
Dickinson in some trouble, and he took a lick. Dave Dickinson sandwiched.
He didn't want to get up there, you're right. Leroy Blue doing the sportsmanlike thing, but Dickinson just says, you know what, I just think I want to lie on the field for a minute, just make sure I have my bearings. Might get up and go to the wrong huddle.
He was back in Montana for a moment.
What you do is you ask the guy a couple of questions. He gets 2 out of 3 right, he's back in.
So how did you feel the day after your Labor Day Classic? A little tough getting out of bed?
Well, you know, in the latter parts, it was tough getting out of bed after every game. But the Labor Day Classic, whether it be in Regina or here in Calgary, always seems just a little bit tougher to play from a contact sense.
2nd and 8. Another big play for the Eskimo defense, trying to get the ball back for Kemp and the green and gold offense. Dickinson can't find a receiver, and now tossing it away, and it is an incomplete forward pass.
Well, the officials called it quickly, but looked like it was very close to being a lateral.
Instead, an incompletion, but a punting situation for Calgary.
About now steps up in the pocket. He's just in front of that. Just in front of that line when he takes another huge hit. This time it's Benny Goods and Jed Roberts.
Wow. And Jed Roberts knew he got all of Dickinson because he was calling to the Calgary bench to come out and help the quarterback. And Plus is still shaken on back-to-back plays. So the quarterback on defense and the quarterback of the Calgary offense, tough series. Jeff Garcia maybe pressed back into duty.
Dinged earlier in the game. I think Wally Bono obviously hoping he didn't have to go back to his starter. Rather have him rest with back-to-back. They get hit in the head twice in a row, going back to last week, but may have to.
Under 4 minutes to go, but the Eskimos one big play away from really tightening this affair up. And they nearly got it on a block punt. Flag down. Here's Gizmo. And once again, can't say enough about the Stampeders' punt coverage this afternoon. But there is a flag on the field, and it looks like holding against the Eskimos. Or check that Calgary.
Well, it's way in the backfield where you would think that there would be a holding. Kay Stevenson indicating that he wants to take the penalty and try and improve his field position. Scott Fawcett right there, the special teams
Calgary,
coach.
number 41, 3rd down repeated.
Wally Bono's added a fine system, but the fine system for penalties is only for dead ball fouls, fouls that happen after the whistle, undisciplined fouls. So there likely won't be a fine for this one as Anthony McClenahan comes across, and looks like he horse collars with the face mask on Errol Martin.
Whereas the roughing call earlier on Danielson might be a costly one. Depending on how Judge Wally wants to rule. Eskimos could get the football in nice shape here. Good kick by Martino, though. Giz at his 37. No room to operate. 46-yard punt by Martino. But for the dominance today, the Eskimos still with the chance.
Now get a 28-point fall checkup, plus oil, lube, and filter, tire rotation, and a free jug of washer fluid, all for just $29.95. Only at Canadian Tire.
Back in Calgary, remember Friday, the return engagement in Edmonton, and both teams feeling that if one club could take the 2 this year in the series, they'd have a lock on first place in the West. Kemp just got it away, and he was nailed. And these two teams are teeing off on the quarterbacks. Steve Anderson nailing Jimmy Kemp. The 3-minute warning being given to the benches here at McMahon. An 11-point Calgary lead.
One turn for the worse. Split-second reaction. 180 degrees from nowhere. 4 days overdue. And 3 months recovery equals One score to be settled. For all you do, this Bud's for you.
In my dental office, the Crest Cavity-Free Wall of Fame proves that patients actually listen to their dentists. Now, even if the patient happens to be my daughter. I told her a cavity-free picture here would get her picture up there.
Crest with Fluorostat is unsurpassed for cavity protection. That's why more dentists recommend Crest when kids first start to brush.
Hey, perfect checkups really are something to smile about. And we have the pictures to prove it.
Crest, because the best smile is a cavity-free smile.
So, this is it, huh? You're off to college.
Yeah.
Pretty high-tech stuff you got here.
Yeah, but the guy explained everything when I bought it.
Good. Well, good luck.
Isn't Mom gonna say goodbye?
She's still up in your room getting used to the idea.
Well, I love you, Dad.
He's gone. What do you think?
Only 9.5 feet. We're gonna need 10 for the hot tub.
Well, this wall's gonna have to come down.
Over 7,000 office products and IBM computers at the guaranteed lowest price. Staples, the best buys in school supply.
Peter Pride and wear red and white. The east side wears red, the west side wears white.
Back at Big Man, 2:55 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Well, Steve Anderson leads this team in pressures. He won't get a credit for a sack on this play, but that's what a pressure is. Get to the quarterback, disrupt his throwing motion.
2nd and 10 at the 41.
2nd and 10 at the Eskimo 41-yard line. Here comes the pressure, and they knock it down. Eddie Davis on the blitz came free, and it brings up 3rd down, Eskimos.
Eddie Davis gambled and won. When you're coming on a secondary blitz and Eddie Davis was on the dead fly, if you leave your feet, you're taking a chance that the quarterback can pump fake it and bring it down. He's going to come from the right of your screen. Now, this is a big gamble. If he goes up and Kemp pumps that and takes off, he's dead. Gamble paid off, and he bats that one out of the air.
Well, Davis has had a big afternoon. And Sean Fleming will punt on 3rd and 10. There was a brief discussion at the Eskimo bench about gambling on 3rd down with time now a major factor. 2.5 minutes to play. And the Eskimos need 2 major scores. Is a flag down on the field after the punt return by Coleman.
Well, that's a good point, Chris, because, I mean, you get 2 minutes left, or just over 2 minutes, and you need 2 scores. It's almost 3-down football from that point on.
Well, Jeff Garcia returns.
Holding, Calgary, number 31, 1st down.
Roger Reinson called for holding. That pushes the Stamps back, and now Edmonton looking to pin the Stampeders deep.
Well, apparently Dave Dickinson's problem was a muscle pull, he wasn't dinged, so he's out because of a problem with his leg, and Garcia, of course, was dinged earlier, so interesting to see if he can focus on the defense.
Calgary really only needs a 1st down or 2 to put this one away. Anderson brought down at the 15. Bodie Harris with the tackle.
This is a big down for the Edmonton defense. I mean, this is your chance right now to give your offense good field position with this stop on the next down. Get a chance to go in and try and score one of those majors. Don Wilson, one of the veterans, is going to have to get in that huddle and say, boys, this is where we need the big play. Someone has to rise up, come up with the interception, or at least hold them short so they have to punt the football.
2nd and 9. Play action. And Garcia flipped out of his hands, complete at the 21-yard line. A wounded duck becomes a completion, and I think Jeff's heart skipped a beat there.
Well, Garcia was rolling out. He usually throws with a glove on his hand. But he doesn't have the glove anymore, and that ball got away from him a little bit. Just started tailing off.
Well, that's the 2nd unusual reception by Terry Bond today. He caught a tip earlier in the game, and that one stopped short of a 1st down.
But the Edmonton Eskimo defense did what they had to do. Now they forced Calgary into a punting situation. Gizmo Williams should have decent field position and provided for his offense. They have a little bit of life left.
Ticats with a measure of revenge for the trouncing they took in Toronto a few weeks ago.
Eskimos called timeout.
Eskimos have called a timeout, stopping the clock with 1:55 to go.
7.
Well, it becomes an interesting race in the East when you mention that score. Toronto-Hamilton game. Montreal at 7-2, Hamilton at 8-2. Or excuse me, yeah, both tied at 8-2. Montreal, of course, won a couple nights ago.
And the Argos fall 3 back. Toronto won today. The race for first may have been a 3-way affair. Lots of games between those teams yet, though, so don't count the Argos out. And if this score prevails, the Stampeders will move ahead. I'm not sure the decision desk hasn't reacted a little early here. With Martino in, deep in his own zone. Got it away, though, and now Gizmo. Ducks under 1. Nothing doing today, and that has been a major sidebar. Roger Reinson down to make a tackle.
Aldi Henry has been a great special teams player. Roger Reinson is in charge of snapping the football and then covering it. He's been like a headhunter so far in special teams for the Stamps. So they're getting it done on special teams, no question. That's a tough job. You got to look between your legs, snap it 15 yards. You get hit off the line of scrimmage, then you cover it. It's a tough one.
First and 10.
So Jimmy Kemp has 1:46 to work with, and he has to score quickly because the Eskimos need 2 possessions. Kemp looks downfield and has a man, and it's jarred loose. Brian Wiggins had it, and it was knocked loose by Dave Van Bellingham, who last year on the Labor Day weekend was bow hunting. He was head hunting that time with Brian Wiggins in his sights.
It's the second time that Brian Wiggins has been hit hard in this football game. The first one was Elijah Johnson, and this time it's a safety, Dave Van Bellingham, who reads this one nicely. That ball is caught, and Van Bellingham separates Wiggins from the football with a great hit.
2nd and 10. Van Bellingham's done a great job replacing the injured Greg Knox. And here's a near interception as Darrell Hall had it slip through his hands. The veteran linebacker nearly with the pick, but it sets up a 3rd down, and now the Eskimos have to go.
Well, you know that Jimmy Kemp will be forcing the football at that time in the game where he's behind and he really has to throw it down the field. And that one, he just threw it into double coverage. Hall had a great shot at it and dropped the football, but you got to force a little bit in this situation, and you know they're going to go to 3 downs, and Jimmy Kemp stays in the game.
100th game of Hall's CFL career, 6 years, plus 3 more with the Denver Broncos. And now it's down to this, 3rd and 10 for Edmonton. Little time for Kemp, and now falls, got caught up in the traffic, and is finished off by Bronzell Miller. And for the 2nd time today, it's turned over on downs.
Well, Jimmy Kemp slipped on the play and tripped and fell down. Bronzell Miller gets credit for the sack, but you know what? That front 4 for the Calgary defense deserves to get a couple of stats to pat it as this game winds down, because they have been consistent from start to finish, generally doing it with 3- and 4-man rush, not a lot of blitzing, and that's an easy one for Bronzell Miller, but boy, they've earned it with their work ethic today in this football game.
1st and 10, Calgary at the Eskimo 38.
Their ears have been ringing a bit about being the weak link on this team. Not today. Anderson across the 35. Remember, Edmonton used its timeout. 4 more for Kelvin Anderson. And the clock will be running.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, first of all, who will be healthy for the rematch in Edmonton next week, because there's been a few guys go down in this game, but whether or not Jeff Garcia or Dave Dickinson will start the football game will be a big question, I'm sure a lot of people asked here in Calgary during the week.
Jimmy Kemp or Dave Archer. Both coaches have some decisions to make. Here's Anderson again, a 1st down, and a whole lot more as Kelvin Anderson pads his stats on what has been a big afternoon. 16 more for the Stampeder running back.
When you ask Wally Buono about Calvin Anderson, he just gets a big smile on his face. He loves his speed. He's got good hands out of the backfield. He worked very hard in the offseason this year catching the football, and you know he can run it. And you know when Wally Buono has a lead and he's trying to kill the clock, he loves to see that kind of play.
6 away from his second 100-yard game of the season, the other against the Argonauts. First down, 40 seconds left. Anderson gets the call, and this is wide open, and Anderson, touchdown, Calgary.
Outstanding job up front.
Followed the left side, Rocco Romano, Jay McNeil, Jamie Crysdale. Anderson goes over 100 and back in the end zone for the second time today.
Well, that whole left side of that offensive line just collapsed. An injured Edmonton defensive front four, and Kelvin Anderson didn't have any contact until he got to safety Trent Brown. And it's another souvenir for the crowd. And why not? It's a huge crowd that are happy tonight.
151 all-purpose yards for Anderson. 26-8 the score now. And some of the tempers starting to spill over as we get a union meeting underneath the Eskimo goalposts.
Well, this is to set up for next week. This is what they do now. This is the pushing, the shoving goes on, and they start to talk about, okay, this one's over, but we'll see you in a few days in our place.
Well, we got the impression yesterday that this man would play a huge role. That's been the case. Second 100-yard game of the year for the number 2 rusher in the CFL. Very much like last year's Labor Day game. Last year it was 24-3 at the half, and Calgary cruised to a convincing win, 27-14.
A lot of injuries in that one as well. So the Calgary dominance in Labor Day continues. It'll be 6 in a row for the Stamps.
We're wondering about those balloons. I know it's Dave Sapunjas' birthday today, but
making it festive, I guess.
Well, similar day today. Storyline the same in Hamilton, 26-7. Here, 26-8 for the home side, as the favorites prevail. And I believe the decision desk has confirmed the 7-3 Stampeder record.
I think that's safe at this point. No question about it. You may see the third Calgary quarterback if they get another shot at it.
All squibbed. And Wiggins back to return. And the former Stampeder out to the 40. So 29 seconds to go. A long afternoon for David Archer.
David Archer's a professional. He knows what he did in this game, what he didn't do, I should say, and he'll go back and take a look at the game film. And you know what? He's going to see some decent things. He's going to see that he got pressured from that defensive front four. If they can shore up their blocking a little bit, they can execute their offense a little more. I mean, right now, he's taking it all on his shoulders. You know that David Archer's going to take full responsibility, but when he sees the pressure he was under on the game film, it'll change a little bit. And it's to a man up front, you got to shore things up if you want to have success offensively.
And he said yesterday, our strong suit this year has been our offensive line. He won't be able to say that after today's game. That's Shannon Myers stretching out to get a first down. 22 seconds to go.
You know what Edmonton can build on, though, Chris, is a solid running game from Troy Mills. And a lot of times when you're starting to get blown out, even if you start to second-guess themselves, you don't get the great effort, and Troy Mills is given 100% from start to finish.
It'll be 6 consecutive. Here's a pick, And Andy Davis has the football, and Andy Davis is going to score unless Troy Mills can get him. Oh, what a play by Mills to stop it at the 1. That's the kind of football player Troy Mills is.
Absolutely. That was my comment exactly. I mean, it was very easy for Troy Mills to let Eddie Davis run that one into the end zone. Jimmy Kemp trying to force things, throwing it down the field. The interception, not a big deal at this point in the game, but Eddie Davis, who's had a good football game, is rewarded with the interception as he comes underneath it and then takes off running. But the point that I want to make that you touched on, Chris, was that Troy Mills could have stopped and watched him go in the end zone. He could have just jogged the rest of the way, but he didn't. He closed. He kept working hard, and he dove at the end. Keep him out of the end zone. That's a great effort.
Eddie Davis is saying, what's going on? This is 2 weeks in a row. Last week, Tracy Ham stopped him on the 1-yard line after a 63-yard return.
He's had back-to-back great football games, rewarded with the interception there.
He has indeed. And now, with 7 seconds left, let's see if the Stamps punch it in for good measure. And Garcia is tossed back at the 10. And I'm not sure Wally Wano wanted to punch it in.
Well, I'm not sure about the call. First of all, you don't want to get your quarterback hit again. Give the ball to Kelvin Anderson, let him run up in there, and if he gets it, he gets it. If he doesn't, he does. It's no big deal. You got the big lead. But the only downside for Calgary on that play was Jeff Garcia had to take a hit. Really didn't have to.
At the 8, this will be the final play. Well, he may want to put it in because they're going to work out of the shotgun. With the back-to-back games, total points and all, throwing into the end zone, incomplete.
Yeah, that's it, Chris. When you think about back-to-back, they got to play next week. You might look at the total points, and that's the only reason they're going for it there.
So Kay Stevenson has participated in his first Labor Day Classic, and he still has not been able to beat the Calgary Stampeders. 6th straight loss for Stevenson against Calgary, and on Labor Day, it's the 6th consecutive win for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, it's interesting. The Stamps, you know, they've so far this season have really been an offensive powerhouse, but this afternoon, it was their defense that set the tone from start to finish, led by the front 4 and Alondra Johnson, who had a great game.
And Dave Dickinson set the Stampeders' momentum towards the victory coming off the bench. Let's join Mark Connolly down on the field.
Chris, I've got Calvin Anderson had a great game for the Stamps. Some hard running in there, Calvin.
Yeah, it was a hard game. We knew that would be tough, and we wanted to come out and just establish a run game against them, and we did.
2 touchdowns for you, especially when you guys needed it most. You were, I mean, it was hard going there for a while.
Oh yeah, we couldn't. As an offense, we couldn't seem to get in sync. We was doing things that was working, but we couldn't get the yardages off of it. So we had to try to pound the ball some more and just do different things, and we come make it work, and we seem to have it.
Great game, Calvin.
Great, thanks.
I hear the working woman in the suit so smart, the girl who wants it just to break his heart. Sparkling earrings, a string of pearls, just kicking back, one of the girls. 3-button coats, ribbons and bows. Everyone's asking where'd you get those clothes. I like your style, call it versatile. Baby, you're just like me.
When you need a sealant that's got to stick, Mono Ultra does the trick. Mono Ultra. When it calls for the best, the choice is clear. There won't be anything like it for years. Mono Ultra. It works in the sun. It works in your shower. You wash up with water and make it an hour. Whatever the kitchen surface, nothing sticks to the job like Mono Ultra. And it's mildew-proof in the bathroom. Mono Ultra. Get the Mono.
I don't want to be thinking to myself, oh, I'm stuck in my job. I want to be saying to myself, oh, okay, this is what I do for a living and I love it. I didn't want to force myself into just picking something. If it's not a challenge, then it's boring.
There are many career opportunities for women in today's Canadian Army. Have we got a job for you?
Sometimes the temptation can be too much. But if you've decided to quit smoking, Nicorette nicotine chewing pieces help take away the cravings for a cigarette. And that may be the edge you need. Nicorette, because you're bound to be tempted.
It was harvest time when a terrible accident changed John Paul's life forever. He was playing near a grain auger and fell onto the moving blades. Both his arms were severed. John Paul and other War Amps champs who have lost arms and legs in accidents appear on parade floats and television with a kids-to-kids warning.
Don't let it happen to you. Play safe.
Please call the War Amps about the materials available through the Play Safe program.
Play safe.
The Calgary Stampeders come away with a 26-8 win over the Edmonton Eskimos and improved to 7-3 on the season. Coming up Friday evening on CBC, it's the start of the 16th Commonwealth Games from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. local time, 7:30 in Newfoundland. Our next game on the CFL on CBC takes place this Saturday, 1 o'clock Eastern, as BC faces Toronto, 10 a.m. Pacific. The Calgary Stampeders take first place in the West on Labor Day, improving to 7-3 with a victory over the Edmonton Eskimos. It'll be the run to the playoffs here on CFL on CBC. Good night from Calgary.